Welcome back to part 2 of our discussion of volume 25. Part 2 will begin with chapter 232. We last left off with Luffy walking to Mocktown to retrieve his friend's treasure. V, 232.
Alrighty, so the intro image story, it seems like there's a little bit of like a cowboy Wild West theme going on, and I have to say it's making me want to have this quote-unquote world be canon. I feel like it would be fun to canonically see the Straw Hats in a universe such as this one. Nami is looking good as she is hitchhiking with a fox, ? I will say, she's very cute, listen. Nami, wifey material, but I don't know that I would pick her up, though, because she would probably steal from me.
She would, yeah, she'd rob you blind.
She would 100% rob me and take my car.
And she'd be purposely hurtful the whole time.
Yeah, and she would be a
You
bitch
drive
about
What
it.
the fuck? You're a stranger.
As we've determined.
Like, you don't even, like, drop her off. You're just driving, crying, taking the abuse.
Wow, just like fucking unlock the doors, open her door, and kick her out while we're moving.
Dylan, you would literally give a scary crackhead a ride, so I think Nami's...
Also, the fox, that screams Mihawk Fox.
Oh, with the
Yeah.
mustache.
The mustache,
and
the style of the hat.
Yeah, I can see it. That's true.
The pompous fucking look
Yeah,
on his face.
like with its chin kind of raised up and be like...
lady, you can get in the car. The fox cannot get in the car.
It's like, you know what? You seem like a bitch. I'll take the fox.
Just like the fox. And just noting that it's called Route 666.
What
I
is
thought
that?
that was
Yeah,
kind of
that's
funny.
highway to hell,
Yeah.
baby.
Edgy as fuck, Oda, okay.
Damn, Oda, okay. He's gonna write in his journal about it.
It's an AC/DC fan.
That's Thunderstruck. Anyway.
Also, yes, the title of this chapter is The 100 Million Berry Man, and we know that it is referring to Luffy at this point, because as we are going to see throughout this, the rest of this volume, the bounties have been updated and have been distributed, and we will see things are not always what they seem, is what we will find out throughout the rest of this this volume. Alrighty, actually getting into the chapter. I feel like this is maybe like, I don't know what it is about it. Let me just get into it. I thought the intro scene of this chapter was really good, and I'm not sure what it is about it, but it feels weirdly peaceful. Like, it is the middle of the night, very early morning. It's quiet. There's just a man pissing his drinks away, just staring out at the sea with a little drunken monologue. Like, it's...
I've been that man before.
And I feel like I haven't like just whipped my dick out and pissed in the sea.
Same, except I forgot to take my cock out and just pissed myself.
But there's this, I don't know if it's because I have been drunk outside early morning or late night and felt the quiet, like when the world is still asleep, but you're still up. It's giving that sense of peace and quiet, and it feels almost like it would cause you to reflect and introspect, and like, I don't know,
It's very atmospheric.
it is, and it's like I didn't really expect that coming into this latter half of the volume, but I really liked it. And then yeah, the moment of peace is disrupted by the bird dropping off the wanted posters, and after combating the brain fog, the man realizes how much Luffy and Zoro are worth, and his expression at the bottom of page 3 is great. I love the way the shock is drawn on his face with the like big like bulging eyes and the sweat coming down his face, and just the heartbeat, the throb is giving like holy shit, like heartbeat moment. Hands are shaking on the papers, like this is serious.
Palms are sweaty.
Yeah, knees, like, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Someone say it.
Mom spaghetti.
Thanks.
Oh. You wanted mom spaghetti.
I wanted mom spaghetti. Thanks, Dylan. But yeah, very very nicely drawn panel there at the bottom of page 3. Also, going into pages 4 and 5, we're picking up kind of where we left off with the Straw Hats and Luffy leaving and doing what he has to do. And ultimately, I think, and we talked a little bit about it in the previous, at the end of the previous episode, but it's a good display of Luffy's character as a person. He has plenty of flaws, but his sense of justice, his sense of what's right is admirable, and it persists through adversity. Like
sometimes it's a little twisted, and not like a sick way or anything, but just like he has some
it's
weird things.
Yeah, he has some weird takes that I'm like, I don't know that I'm fully there with you. But in this moment, I certainly am. And I feel like that is something that makes Luffy special because, yeah, like I said, he has plenty of flaws. He has shown these flaws before, but he has these moments of just, I'm going to do everything that I can to defend my friends and to do right by them. And I feel like that is certainly something that makes him a good captain, for sure. He knows he doesn't have much time, but he's determined to avenge his new friends, and he won't let anything get in his way. And like I get it. Like, just seeing the Bellamy pirates, Bellamy and himself, but also it's a good example just the next page over at page 6, seeing the Bellamy pirates mocking them is just kind of drives the nail in the coffin. It justifies even more why Luffy would have that attitude towards them and be like, these people are not deserving of kindness. They have hurt my friends. They are mocking me, and I will make things right. And for him, it's about violence, which, you know, sometimes is justified, ? Page 7 was a really good example of good pacing through storytelling, and I know I've talked about it before with different chapters in the past, but it's a clever use of the panels to pace and have that pacing contribute to the storytelling itself. Like, we get this sequence of the drunk guy warning him, Bellamy being like, what the fuck are you on about? And then the silence sets in before they say the bounties out loud. Mm-hmm. And the bounties are 100 million for Luffy and 60 million for Zoro. And, you know, we were talking about that, not the previous half of this episode, but the last episode when we were going through volume 24. This is kind of a good example of bounties being the equivalent of power scaling. And I think Dylan is the one who had mentioned that you can tell how hard it is to beat someone up, or you can tell how dangerous of an enemy or how much effort it's going to take you to take them down just by how many berries you can get for their bounty.
It's a little less on the nose than like a little piece of glass that covers one eye that just tells you what their power level is. Dragon Ball Z.
It's over 9,000.
Dragon Ball Z, it's just useless.
Yeah, eventually the scouters, I think is what they're called, become a thing of the past.
Right. And then, so Bellamy tries to play it off as the bounties being fake or the posters being fake, because there's no way that these puny guys are stronger than him, you know, the hyena. Like, eye roll. I fucking hate him. And I know that, like, realistically, the last time that Bellamy was in the presence of the Straw Hats, they were making a point to not fight back. And I think that's kind of where that assumption of them being weaklings comes from.
Yeah.
But honestly, you should know better.
Hubris.
Exactly. It is hubris. That is the right word. The very last panel of page 9, as who we assume to be Luffy yells out for Bellamy, marks the beginning of a really good series of events and panels. The surprise on everyone's face as they spit out their drinks is a great way to end that page. And page 10 starts with very palpable tension. I love the panel at the bottom of page 10 with the perspective shot looking up to Luffy on the roof from behind Bellamy. I thought that was clever perspective play. Oda does that really well. I've pointed that out before. Love the showdown feel. Bellamy springs up to the roof, lands in front of Luffy at the middle of page 12, and Luffy states that he's there to take his friend's gold back. Like, it's giving Wild West, like, da-na-na-na-na,
yes,
you know?
I have that in my notes. Yeah.
Whoa! Whoa!
But I like that feeling. Again, it builds upon that tension that I was mentioning before. I kind of like that Sarkis and Bellamy are severely underestimating him. And I wrote that in my notes at the time. It is only proven to be true as we continue the reading of this. But I wrote, it's going to make the defeat even more painful and bitter, and that's all they deserve. Which I stand by that statement. Middle of page 14, we get a nice dynamic panel as Bellamy flips backwards off the tower only to bounce on the other tower and then over and over again in between buildings at the bottom of page 16. I thought that was really nicely done.
And Luffy's just waiting.
Yeah, he's gonna stop eventually. He's not chasing after him. He's cool, calm, and collected. He knows that this is just a distraction. He knows that this is just to get him, like, to try to get him to get involved. But he's like, nope, I know what I'm doing. Which is rare. Coming from Luffy, that sense of, like, because he is, like...
restraint?
Yes, exactly. He's capable of restraint when it really matters. But he's not always capable of restraint. And yeah, I had a note to that effect in my reading that I would love to see that animated, to see the bouncing from building to building, from tower to tower. I think I would be curious to see that actually in movement. And okay, the end of the chapter is just... It's chef's kiss, and it's a wonderful display of karma. In general, I really like when Luffy gets in that zone where, as opposed to being his usual boisterous and loud self, he really, like, tunes into himself. He's calm, collected, determined. And that's exactly when you know that he is not fucking around and he is not to be fucked with. It's like I can hear when he says... the bottom of page 17, when he says, "You want to see me land a punch?" It's like I can hear that he's neutral. I can hear that he's not I hear it in my head. He's not screaming. He's not being cocky about it. He's just saying, "Do you want to see it? Like, do you want to see it? Because I'll fucking show you." And so the last panel of page 17 then shows us Bellamy spring rushing towards Luffy with the words "so long, Straw Hat" being overlaid atop it. And then it's followed by exactly what I was hoping for. Pages 18 and 19 offer a fantastic spread of Luffy landing that punch and giving me what I wanted. Bellamy's stupid fucking face being bashed in, teeth broken, blood spilling from his face. Fuck yes, wonderful, standing ovation, 10 out of 10. Give this guy a fucking award. A slow clap.
Broken floorboards?
Oh.
Is a nice touch.
Oh. And just like the broken floorboards, the way that it's shaded in, and it's the fact that it's one punch. It's one strike, and he didn't need anything else but that one strike. Anyway, it was perfection. There was no other way for this chapter to finish.
No notes.
No, it's perfect. It is perfect. It is great. I don't think I even bothered to read the SBS after that, because I was like, this is it. I just want this to be I want this to be ingrained in my mind forever. Just his face in the left corner, just
it's one of those moments that you don't forget.
And you see the imprint of Luffy's fist in his face, like his knuckles, the shape of Luffy's fingers imprinted in Bellamy's stupid fucking face. Oh. Delicious. And that's what I had for 232. Dylan?
Yeah, looking back at the cover page, and the left corner behind Nami.
Other cute girl.
It says the Apollo. So, like, supposed to be like an Apollo capsule from the Apollo missions from NASA?
Who knows?
Is that
maybe
what's
it's the Apollo Theater in New York.
Could be, who knows? Yeah, we open up with the dude pissing in the ocean, and then the birds I guess they just run around just dropping off bounty papers.
Well, we have seen a bird before delivering a newspaper to Nami on the ship. So I guess they're kind of like carrier pigeons or whatever, you know?
Yeah, it's just weird that they're not, like, collecting any post for it. But I do like the bottom of 3, like you said, just as like, oh shit, we're cooked kind of thing. Yeah. Reading all the bounties and being like, oh damn, he's worth more than anyone in town.
And the way he's struggling to read the number because he's drunk, I thought was also really funny.
Yeah. And then Luffy having the flashbacks is like a running montage with the flashbacks interspersed through it. That's funny. And then of course he ultimately fucking trips. And it's just like I feel like this whole chapter kind of goes, it's like the people who like run their mouths super loud. And it's just like, oh yeah, I'm so good, you're so fake, like you're bullshit, like you couldn't do nothing to me. Are usually the ones who get their ass dropped instantaneously. And it's just like, oh, keep running your mouth. You don't get anything from running your mouth. It'd be better to shut up and observe your surroundings. And I like when he comes in, he's like, oh. It does kind of give us like the thing he comes in and tells him about. It's like, you're really gonna believe that people fake their bounties just to try and get respect.
Don't be an idiot.
Yeah.
Right?
As he's an
Duh,
idiot.
dude. Yeah, it's like, all right, if he made it himself, where do you get a picture from? Cameras aren't really a thing that I know of.
They're their thing. We sing
Yeah, but
one.
it's not something like people. Yeah, it's like, but people don't carry them around on them.
Yeah.
It's not like I want to whip out my phone and take a picture.
Yeah.
And then they're all like, haha, yeah, I love the part where it's like, they're all like, oh yeah, he's right. What a little punk. That's got to be it. Ha 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 ha. And then when he calls Bellamy out, all of them be like, oh my god, it's for real. Just immediately go from like shit talk and then hear Luffy and they're just like, oh shit, no, we're cooked. We're cooked again. I'm scared. Help. And like the fight, there's not a lot to say about it. It is super good. It's great. It's just another thing. It's like, all right, keep running your mouth. Keep running your mouth.
Talk
Guess what?
shit, get hit.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm gonna let my fist do the talking, and it's gonna be really easy.
I have no pity for people like that in real life.
It's always really satisfying
is.
to see them get fucked.
It's karma, right? It's like divine
Yeah.
retribution.
I do love in the middle of like the bottom half of 15 when he's jumping down and like they see Luffy jumping down. They're like, oh my god, he's coming! Run away!
Yeah.
And then I do like the way it's drawn for 16, just him, just like, it's kind of like it's like this anime trope where it's just like, there's got to be one person who has no powers whatsoever, but can actually track what's going on to explain to everyone else what's going on.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't track it because they're moving too quick, but he's actually thrown 6,000 blows.
Did I throw
And he blocked them all. Yeah, it's
He's
like,
going
oh,
so fast we
okay.
can't see it.
Yeah, it can't be captured on TVs. Oh my god, it's the world's strongest man competition. Let's go to Dragon Ball. And then next time on Dragon Ball Z, maybe they'll land a punch.
I remember those Dragon Ball Z
Maybe.
episodes where like one episode was just them charging up the freaking Kamehameha. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It starts-
Spirit, but it's like,
Ka-
everyone, give
And
me
then
your energy. They just hold their hand up. He holds his hands up for like 5 episodes.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like Frieza, kill him. Like just kill him.
It's been
That's all you
30
gotta
minutes, Frieza. You got this.
do. Yeah, I got shit to do today.
Love you, Akira Toriyama. R.I.P.
Oh,
again.
R.I.P.
Yeah, and then of course the way it ends with the 2-page spread of Bellamy just being utterly decimated. Love it.
So satisfying.
And then I believe in the SBS, it's another one of being another one calling out like a little mix-up that Oda made. It's like, oh, normally he wears his swords on his left, but this time he's wearing it on his right. And he's just like, yeah, he did it so he could lean to the left and look cool. Anyways.
Don't call me out on my mistakes.
Yeah,
Fuck
what
you.
do you want from me?
It's like, would you rather it come out once every 3 months so I can check over it to make sure
Right,
everyone's
and
any
also,
minute
like,
detail
Yeah.
that's off
listen,
you fucking neckbeard?
I feel like at this point, like, I know Dylan and I at this point we appreciate One Piece and we pay attention to it in the panels, and like Dylan is the best at calling out those small details. But that is something that you have to be a special kind of autistic.
Yeah.
Also kind of just got to be an asshole to write in about
be
it
able
too.
to,
I know you're a famous artist, but you fucked up.
Previously, you put his sword on the other side. Oh, like, stop. Please stop.
God, do you listen to yourself? There's a reason he
Like,
never wants to show up at
do you have
conventions.
friends?
It's you guys.
Clearly,
No.
you do not.
That's why they're writing in. They're like, oh, you got this wrong. It's like, oh, are you the author of One Piece? No? All right, cool. But yeah, that is all I have on that chapter.
All right. The opening, I also really liked the serene opening.
Serene is a good word. That's a good word for that.
Oda said, you know what? I'm going to do a panel of nothing but piss. and there is a small little panel where it's,
You see.
like, good on you. And honestly, this guy kind of reminds me of me as someone who has lived almost his entire life on and around the coast.
And who has pissed in the ocean?
I have pissed in the ocean. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, this whole chapter gave me Western vibes.
Yeah.
It's just the bounty hunter, the bad bounty hunter versus the good bounty hunter at the saloon, and the messenger comes in screaming, "He's coming for you, Tex." What was it, Big Iron? Is that what you called it? I think last episode.
Yeah, the big iron on my heel.
Yeah.
Big iron on my heel.
He's coming for you. But. And then the level of cope that Bellamy was displaying here was so funny, especially in light of how it all ends. I mean, this is the perfect example of, like I said, and V confirmed, hubris. You know,
Yeah.
This is a great exercise in humility and hubris.
Yeah.
Don't
absolutely.
be Bellamy.
Yeah.
If you can take something
Just
away
don't
from
be
this,
that guy.
don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
Yeah. Oh, but Luffy's dramatic entrance was also done really well. I would compare it to the beginning of this chapter, where it's just all framed very nicely. It just sets the scene very well. And then, yeah, I mean, what can I say about the final panel that we haven't already said a couple of times? It's good. It's great. Yeah, so I will summarize. This was significantly cooler than all the chapters that have come before. This was a great way to kind of move us on to this next thing that we're about to get into. Awesome. Great use of tension throughout. Love the villains, and you got to see everything from their perspective before Luffy comes in. Cool way to deal with this punk, Bellamy, the idiot.
Fucking hate
It's a simple chapter. I don't think it's making you remember a whole lot. It is
right. It's not revolutionary by any means, but it's so satisfying.
It's satisfying in its simplicity. Yeah.
Right. It is. It's simple. It's satisfying. I feel like as human beings, most of us will relate to Luffy in our quest for justice and our quest to righting wrongs. And I feel like that was the whole point of this chapter, was to see someone that is aiming to right that wrong, to see the recipient of that be even more like doubling down on how wrong they are and on their hubris and it backfiring in the most perfect way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like I said, this stuck with me. I remembered exactly what was coming as soon as we hit Jaya. This specific moment. Of course, there's some others, but this one really stands out. And yeah, I don't have a whole lot else to say. I mean, again, simple and nails what it's doing. 233 is V.
Heck yeah. 233, the world's greatest power. Going back to the intro image, I feel like, again, it's maybe not as clearly Wild West related, but it's giving Wild West adjacent, because to me it's like Zoro, he's what I'm assuming gold panning or sifting for gold, while this big ass bear is eating a feast of roasted fish beside him. I guess technically he could be fishing, but that whatever he's holding in his hands looks a lot more like a sieve than a fish net, right? So yeah. So we start off where we left off, the aftermath of that glorious, delicious impact. Page 2 again is very tense and quiet, save for the sound of the wind and the blood dripping from Luffy's fist. And at the top of page 3, we get the most satisfying shot of Bellamy's skull basically dented in with the outline of Luffy's fingers. From the freaking beginning, I've hated this man, and this is exactly this is the fate I wanted for him, and I got it, and I'm so happy about it. He's rubbed me the wrong way from the start, and this is the comeuppance that he deserved. And on that note, kind of assuming that Oda intentionally made this character detestable, he did a really good job at it. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the return of the bounty poster at page 4, just really to like drive the point of this is who you're dealing with. He doesn't look like much, but this is the guy. This is the guy that just did this. Like, that's him. Top of page 6. We get a good reminder of Zoro's ethics as a fighter when he says those guys weren't worth it. It's heartbreaking when you're left with only pity after a fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that speaks a lot to his personality and his character as a person, because you can tell that he would get no joy or satisfaction out of being unnecessarily cruel or beating up someone that is much weaker than him. Like, he will do it because he has to, if push comes to shove, but he finds it doesn't bring him anything. He would much rather face someone that actually gives him a challenge, such as, Mr. One, when we were back in Alabasta, Mihawk, and just this drive to keep improving upon himself and his skill and whatever. And that is a trait that comes back in Zoro time and time again, and it only consolidates my appreciation for him as a character. It's just a little shout out to the middle of page 6, where we get an impression of the ongoing chaos. At the very left, someone says, "You're really useful, raccoon dog," only for Chopper to reply, "I'm a reindeer." And I thought that was really cute. Oh, he is a reindeer. But it's just like just the fact that someone would think raccoon. Have you not seen his antlers?
A raccoon dog is a tanuki, right? Is that the
Yeah,
same
but they
thing?
don't have antlers. Yeah, so a
Right,
tanuki
right.
is what I would. You know how in like Super Mario 3 when he puts on
Oh,
his
yeah.
the little
Love
the
'em.
tail. That's
I love the tanuki
I know.
suit.
I also love Tanuki Mario. But there's a difference between a raccoon dog and a reindeer. Page 7 got this like the biggest, like most happy grin on my face when Luffy just replies, "The sky," when Sarkis asks him, "Where do you think you're going?" He's straight-faced, he has no expression, just his finger pointing upwards like it is the most obvious thing ever. Like, what do you mean you're asking where I'm going? Obviously, I'm going to the sky. Are you dumb? And again, that's just a good show of Luffy's resolve. Okay.
Here we go.
Page 8. Page 8. Buggy's back, baby! With Moji
And how do you feel about that? You sound excited, actually.
You know what? I will say, I think that is something that Oda did really well in giving us some canon snippets throughout the intro image stories. Having that made me not forget about Buggy. Having that made me keep that character at the forefront of my mind and be eager to find them again. Regardless of what I think of the character in and of themselves, the fact that they were still being made to be a part of the story, even though it was in parallel, kept me engaged, which then made me excited to see them again. Because it's giving callback. It's giving, I know these characters. And it's also like, you know, because Buggy, we met him very early on in the story. And then it's making me curious about, like, how have the Buggy Pirates developed? How, like, what's changed with them? And I think part of it is because it is such a large story, I like the fact that we're getting callbacks and we're getting characters that are coming back from the past, because it would be low-key exhausting to have just continuously new characters be added. And it's a good way to keep the reader engaged, and to, you know, even though they're characters that you maybe not necessarily would grow very attached to or fond of, Oda made it mean something. Their presence in the universe means something because they're coming back. And Buggy's also one of these characters that, like, yeah, he's an antagonist and he's a, you know, quote unquote bad guy, whatever. But there's a lot of humor to this character, and I talk about it a little bit later on, that still makes him a lovable villain.
I like him a lot, too.
Yeah, and yeah, so Buggy has, I think, Moji and Kabaji?
Yep.
In tow. I think those are their names.
That's exactly their names.
Okay, perfect. And I just wanted to point out the bottom of page 8, when we see them in the dark cave, their faces are only being lit by the light of the lantern. I love the way that that's drawn. It's giving, like, creepy stories to tell in the dark and, like, telling stories around a campfire. But just the way that it's drawn, I thought was really clever. I think Oda's very good at doing shading. And this is a good example of doing so in a creative way and in a context that maybe we haven't really seen before. So that did stand out to me. At the top of page 10, we see that Buggy is as self-conscious as ever, as he is accusing Kabaji of insulting his nose when he actually insulted his intelligence. He did insult him, but he did not insult his nose. I thought, because, going back to his nose... Who says my nose is big and red? Literally no one said that, Buggy. Maybe you need therapy.
Your nose is big and red.
But it's okay. But that's also not what we were talking about.
You need to learn to love yourself, Buggy.
Exactly. Alvida's also back. And I like her outfit at page 11, but I have to say I'm kind of missing the cowboy hat. I feel like the cowboy hat is something that worked well for her. And I'm like, okay, she's got the tits. That's great, but where's the hat?
We want the hat.
We want the hat. And okay. It's a lot is happening.
Try to contain yourself.
A lot is happening. Because at page 12, who's there? Freaking Ace is there. This is not a drill. He's there. He's there. And I thought I recognized his tattoo at the bottom of page 11. His back tattoo with his
swastika tattoo,
the not swastika. But just, it's made very clear starting on page 12. And, I missed his little freckled face. I like the freckles. What can I say? And we are reminded that just like his brother, he is also very food motivated. And we find out that he is the 2nd Division commander of the Whitebeard Pirates. I don't think that is something we knew before.
You did.
We did?
You did.
Okay.
It was mentioned when he was introduced the first
time. Because I knew
time.
that he was part of a pirate crew, but I could not remember his ranking in the crew. Okay. So just reiterating then in that case that he is the 2nd Division commander of the Whitebeard Pirates, which we do meet Whitebeard a little bit later on. We get a little bit of a lore dump about Whitebeard over pages 13 and 14, and it seems like he's not to be messed with. I guess what's something that came up to me is, so, Ace is Luffy's brother. He's part of that pirate crew. Whitebeard seemingly being someone very powerful. And Luffy, on the other hand, is wanting to become king of the pirates and basically wanting to say, well, fuck all of these guys. I'm going to be in charge. And it's making me wonder, like, what does Ace think about that? Like, how does the family dynamic get into, like, I want to respect you and love you as a brother, but also I have allegiances to the people that I have chosen to follow? And I feel like that could introduce some interesting tensions, interesting elements, potential conflicts. And I'm like, okay, I kind of like that. It's some good world building.
I'll give you my assessment, because he kind of talks about it a little bit when he was first introduced. He thinks, I think, to put it just kind of in a simple way, that it's kind of cute.
That Luffy's trying?
Luffy,
yeah.
You're gonna...
He doesn't take him very
keep
seriously.
Keep trying, bud. Exactly.
Right.
He does not take him very seriously. He knows that his boss is the boss, and that, you know what? I think maybe he sees some of himself, his younger self, and Luffy, and this is extrapolating off of, really nothing. But, like, maybe Luffy will settle down and find a crew.
But
like,
then what doesn't lie? The bounties don't lie.
Yeah.
And I don't know that that's being touched upon in this specific volume, but, like, what if he finds out that his little brother's worth 100 million berries?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he is going to start to take him more seriously.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I feel like this is interesting. This is an interesting storyline to follow, is going to be that relationship between Ace and Luffy.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely curious to find out some more about that as we go on. Yeah. So this is certainly a moment in the story where we are expanding on what we previously knew of the world.
Yes.
Because now...
And I love it.
I have some comments on that, but, there are things that we previously knew of the world we're in, and now we're presented with just expanding on a baseline. And now we are introduced to the 5 elders, which are the supreme leaders of the world government, and they are talking about finding a replacement for Crocodile and wanting to prevent Shanks and Whitebeard from meeting. The plot thickens, because we know Shanks, Whitebeard, where we had known of, and now we are getting to know more about. And, Ace's presence kind of speaks to that at this point in the volume. So it's definitely a lot of information, for better or for worse. I will say, I think it's a lot for a single volume, and I will get to that in my closing comments. But I feel like if it was going to happen at any time in the story to kind of build upon what we already knew, it's at those moments of we are shifting from one arc to the other, right? I feel like that's a good time to do it.
Yeah, and the Straw Hats are completely leaving, the ground behind, as we will soon see.
Yes, literally.
Get it out of the way before we are no longer attached to the ground that these people are walking on.
Exactly. And again, continuing on to expanding on this world that we have been introduced to. In the past, I had said that I was excited to meet more of the warlords of the sea, and this volume is giving me exactly what I asked for. As page 19 introduces us to Don Quixote do Flamingo and Bartholomew Kuma. I love the character designs. One is very flamboyant, as a flamingo would be, and the other one seems almost somber, holding a Bible in his hand. It's funny because in my notes here I say hoping to see Hawkeye again, which we do, but at that point I didn't know yet. And so yeah, we had, and again, that ties into one of my initial hypotheses with regards to the naming convention for those warlords of the sea. Crocodile, Hawkeye, Flamingo, and Kuma means bear. in Japanese.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So far, animal related. And then, yeah, so the SBS is this, like, you're matching certain characters with what do you think that they would be doing in an amusement park. And so I did it, and I'm curious
I did it too.
Okay, if you guys did it. So do we want to do it now, or do we want to wait until Michael's done speaking to after Dylan and then after Michael?
We can go ahead and do it now.
Okay. So my answer for eating like a pig was Luffy.
Luffy, yep, 1 point.
Yeah.
Okay. Riding the super fast roller coaster to me was Karoo. Oh, because I was like, he's used to going really fast. He's part of the Supersonic Duck Squadron.
Right.
That makes sense. It makes sense.
Watching a show, I had put Vivi because I was like, she seems like a cultured woman. She seems like someone who would go to the theater, or like someone that would appreciate an activity that's a little bit more subdued.
For me, with that one, I would put Usopp.
Okay.
Because I hear costume characters, I'm thinking like Power Rangers. Shit like that, like superhero kind of stuff. And that's definitely Usopp's kind of
I
vibe.
get that.
Interesting. Okay. Separated from the group, I put Chopper.
Oh, yes.
I got Zoro.
He is crying about it, my sweet little baby boy.
He's crying about it, Dylan.
Wait, it's just, I'm reminded to this panel when we're back in Alabasta, and he's like, I'm gonna go pee. This is how he gets separated from the group.
I gotta pee.
Well, I know what you put for number 5.
With me right now. I put Zoro.
That's Zoro, yeah.
Requires
Yeah.
no,
I put Chopper.
No, aw. Dylan, what did you put?
I'm not letting him get lost.
Wait, Oda's one of them?
Yes. I put Chopper and Oda.
I actually didn't include
there's
him.
There's more names than there are things, which I think is maybe the point, and I missed it.
I ended up not putting Oda anywhere.
I'd say Vivi.
Okay, that's fair. Is trying an octopar, which is an octopus parfait. I put Sanji because I was like, he would probably be curious to see like how it tastes, if it's worth recreating. Like he would be the most adventurous eater, I think.
I put Nami on that one.
Interesting.
So we moved past it a little quickly, but on number 3, watching a show with costume characters with the little heart on it, that gave me Sanji. So I didn't double him up. I was like,
I see.
Because I'm thinking a burlesque show when I see costume characters.
That's where your mind went.
Yeah. I mean,
there's tassels and there's spinning. That's all I know.
And then the last one, enjoying things like a regular person, I had put Nami, and then I have a note saying, although she may sprinkle in a little bit of theft by being a pickpocket.
Yeah. I put Usopp, because he
is just a regular guy.
Yeah.
Oda?
Because he's actually a regular
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
That's funny.
Yeah. No, so this was a fun little
We
thing.
only got 2, actually.
Yeah, that's okay.
You and I don't think I had any of them in common with Dylan. No, I think I also had the first 2 with Dylan as well.
I mean, everyone agrees that eating like a pig is Luffy. Let's just be clear. And yeah, so that's what I had for 233. Dylan?
Yes. I do like the perspective shot at the top. And then actually we'll go over to the cover page. The cover page is definitely, to me, that's Zolo being like, nah, bear. I know how to, like, he's fishing like a bear actually fishes for salmon.
Right. He's like, no, don't you try to tell me how to...
He's like, no, I got this.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's more fishing than panning, but I understand how V could look at that weird
I get it too, but just the contraption for panning for gold, the holes are just too big. Yeah, because you're trying to find little flecks.
No, he's finding bricks.
Yeah, it's like ingots. I think you robbed Fort Knox and just dumped it in this river, and look, I'm panning for gold. It's like those are printed bars of gold.
There's a serial number.
Yeah. That says property of the United States Department of Treasury. Yeah. I don't think that's...
How you're going to want to lay low for a little bit.
Because I think Secret Service is heavily involved in protecting...
Oh, really? Reserves. I thought they were just a presidential thing.
I couldn't tell you for sure, but I know they've got pretty long fingers. Because I think they can investigate like any of the branches. But then the scenery shot is Bellamy laid out, Luffy standing over him. And the fucking fist print on the side of his face is great. I love that on the top of 3.
It is good.
And I love how like Sarquise is just like, oh, yeah, you're joking, right, Bellamy? Bellamy.
Right?
Bellamy? Say psych. Say psych right now.
Oh God, I don't know what piece of media it is, but it's like the mama bear or whatever is dead, and the baby's like, "Mom, say something, Mom."
It's like, ha ha ha. It's a bearfin.
Your mom was an idiot. She
Yeah.
deserved it.
Sounds like a league lobby. I've seen that before in league chat. It's like report the Warwick for having a dead mom. It's
Oh
like,
my God.
What the fuck, dude? Oh, but I love after that, like he's raising this thing, getting all mad, and then the poster gets in his face, and he sees the 100 million berries. He's like, ah! He gets scared of the paper. Oh God! And then we come back to the rest of the crew. They're fixing up the ship, and I like when Nami's like, "Why didn't you go with them?" And so I was like, "What do you want, for Christ's sake? Fight? Don't fight? Make up your goddamn mind." And it's like, they beat you up too. Don't you want revenge? It's like, get beat up. Those guys weren't worth it. It's heartbreaking when you're left with only pity after a fight. It's like, damn.
He has like some cold ass lines time and time again.
He's got one-liners for sure. And I kind of wish it told us what island on the Grand Line they were when it cuts to the buggy stuff. The previous afternoon on an island on the Grand Line.
Yeah, I guess he just didn't care to name it.
And also, is it just me, or did he mix up the way he draws Buggy? Because it's the eyes that really notice. Because at first it's like, is he wearing glasses? But like the eyes are very like prominently, there's a circle with no makeup on his eyes.
Maybe he's just worn down. You know, he got kicked out of his like home base. He's clearly been traveling on the Grand Line now. I wonder if he's not stressed.
I mean, it's weird. It seems like there's definitely been some, the face has been redesigned a little bit. I'd have to look at some old panels to see for sure, but it stood out to me. I was like, wait a minute.
But I think I see what you're seeing. Again, I can't remember East Blue Buggy's face off the top that well.
It just happened so long ago. And then the minor foreman's like, oh, you the new guys? And then they all start working enthusiastically. I'm also curious to what they're digging a tunnel for. They're trying to find an old captain's treasure.
Yeah, that's what the buggy pirates are, but I think they are actually just in some mine, actually, a active mine. Like, these people work here.
They're bona fide, like, Grand Line pirates. Like, and they're like, oh, that's such a good idea. Should we have another party? It's like, yeah, let's have a party. It's like, y'all motherfuckers kind of got the vibe going. And then Alvida's, like, quick clowning around. It's like, there's a circus tent. Yeah. On the boat.
What do you mean don't clown around?
They can't help it. It's in their nature.
I'm surprised Buggy didn't take offense to that. Like,
no, well, he only takes offense to things that he hears but aren't actually said.
Oh, right.
And I love that, like, Buggy's like, relax, Alvida. What's wrong with the little celebration? And then Ace is just there. And it's just like, I know where you can find Luffy. It's like, you see, he's going to tell us, wait, who the fuck are you? And of course, yeah, like V was saying, it's like he smelt food, so he shows up. Part of the Luffy family. And of course, as he's explaining stuff, he falls asleep mid-eating and then wakes up and eats some more. Get a little lore dump about the Whitebeard pirates. And I like, funny thing, because I know we kind of touched on like the first time we saw it and his tattoo and everything. We're like, ooh, that's a little, Trash Taste, a podcast I listen to. It's a bunch of English-speaking dudes who live in Japan and just like podcasts about like anime and living in Japan. They were talking about how like the anime censored that. They switched it up to where it wasn't like the Buddhist symbol or anything anymore.
Okay.
And they're kind of like, I think that's dumb. It's like, you need to like educate yourself about the culture. And it's like, that is a really good point. But it's like, you also need to associate that it's like, yeah, it's not, culturally it's not their thing. But then this nation became worldwide, like known all over the world as terrible, terrible people. And they had a symbol that's very similar. So it's really hard to disassociate that. So I kind of get you being like, no censorship, but it's like, sometimes it's a little better safe than sorry.
I stand by using it. I definitely get not wanting to see it, but I do think that there is some value in trying to take the symbol back. I don't think that this manga is accomplishing that. I don't. I'm certainly not going to display a swastika flag.
No, but I think it's important. It's important even though we, especially as Westerners, might feel uncomfortable with that symbol. I think it's important to be cognizant of the fact that it might actually mean something else elsewhere. You know, like, and it doesn't mean that we're quote unquote okay with it. And again, it doesn't mean that we're going to adopt it, but it's just awareness. And I feel like awareness is a good thing in general.
And then, get a little lore dump about Whitebeard. Being like, oh, he's the only one who ever fought Gold D. Roger and lived. But I do like, you get the world building of like the world government and like the basically the Illuminati of One Piece. It's the elites that run the actual government. And it's very interesting that they're super concerned about Shanks, which is interesting. We've kind of gotten hints at like Shanks' level, But now it's at the point where it's like they're trying to call in Warlords of the Sea to make sure Shanks doesn't talk to Whitebeard.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And I do like they're calling the meeting and the two guys show up. The way they're walking, I've seen like apparently the anime that's out now, like Dandadan.
Okay.
Apparently has like a lot of nods to a lot of like manga and anime stuff. It's like tipping the hat to it. And like the way they're walking, like some of the like there's like scenes where the characters are kind of like walking down the street and they're walking like this.
Oh. Okay. I wonder if that's a direct call out to this.
I believe it is. I'll try and find the short I watched of it.
Are you talking about specifically the guy up front?
The guy up front and the person behind, because they're walking as like kind of a posse, and the one person's got the hands in the pockets, hunched shoulders, super wide stance.
Doesn't do a great job at showing it, but you're right. He does have a unique walk.
Yeah, because it's more of like probably turns his shoulders every time he takes a step.
I think he's a little bow-legged even.
Yeah. It's more like when he takes a step, he doesn't really move his leg, he just turns his hips. A waddle, but not really a waddle.
Yeah.
But that's all I got on that chapter.
All right. Hell yeah, knuckle imprint to start off. And I just like the kind of wrap up of what was going on over there. Buggy, Ace, world government, warlords, some Whitebeard exposition. I really can't say a whole lot here because their pieces are being placed. And I hyped this chapter up a lot. And I think from the perspective of someone who has a lot of context, it may mean a lot more. And I think that someday you guys will look back and you'll be like, huh. But, oh, I love it. I love it so much. And there's so much I just can't say right now. So my summary is hot, hot heat. Can't really say much, unfortunately. Love it. Next one's even better.
I feel like that's going to be maybe a moment where our listeners are going to relate to Michael so hard.
Yeah. But, yeah, 234's V.
Let's go. 234, please remember. Intro image, Usopp is looking...
This is beautiful.
He's looking so content and happy, just swimming with the whale and fishing with his harpoon.
Have you seen that video of a guy getting eaten by a whale?
What?
This happened, I want to say, within the past couple months.
I was
somewhere off the coast
aware.
of South America.
Did it kill him, or did it just like swallow him and spit him out?
It swallowed him, and then somehow he got out. I think it spat him out.
Because whales don't eat humans. Like, it must have been an accident. You know?
Yeah, he I think it was thing. It was like I guess he was swimming, all of a sudden, like a bunch of...
He was in a raft, I think.
Krill and shit started, like, hitting the water above,
Maybe,
like, all around him. He's like, what the fuck? And then, scoop.
Yeah. He survived. Bro survived.
I mean,
and they got it on video.
That's a hell of a story. Imagine you say that. Like, Christmas comes around, you're seeing family you haven't spoken to in a year, and they're like, hey, what's been up with you this year? And you're like, not much. I got swallowed by a whale.
Yeah. So when are you getting married? I'm a little preoccupied with surviving being eaten by a whale, so mind your fucking business.
It's a lot to digest, okay?
And luckily, I have not been digested by a whale.
I was a lot to digest.
But it
gave him acid reflux and he burnt me up.
It's a very like peaceful and serene moment just watching Usopp. It's just
a nice perspective.
Nice perspective from the bottom, and I like seeing him smile.
Yeah, but he's got a harpoon, so he's probably gonna kill that. He's probably trying to kill that.
But the way I'm choosing to interpret this image is that Usopp is on friendly terms with the whale, swimming along with the whale, and fishing the fish, and not the whale. I also love whales. They're super interesting animals. The chapter begins back in sacred Marijoa, sacred Marijoa, which we can deduce is a capital of sorts, or at the very least a significant location. They do call it a sacred land. And we are introduced to Tsuru and Loki. I love old lady characters in manga or anime, and I'm curious to find out more about her.
They're always no nonsense,
right? I love old ladies. And she, again, very much so, as Michael is pointing out, being no nonsense. She's calling out Flamingo for seemingly forcing the other officers to fight using some powers of an unknown nature for now, ? Mind control, maybe, telekinesis, who knows, something like that, maybe. Anyway, there's for sure something going on. It's giving Gladiator, like, entertain me.
Yeah.
Entertain me. Fight. And yeah, we're getting a lot of new characters. And again, as I've briefly alluded to earlier, I like that this coincides with the beginning of this new arc. It makes sense. But I have to say, I'm hoping that I don't lose track of all of them because it's a lot at the same time. Page 4 shows us Buddha Sengoku, the admiral of the fleet, and his adorable goat companion. Tell me more about that little guy. I don't, okay, I'm sure Sengoku's gonna be relevant later on, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But this little guy, I need to find out more about this little guy. He's so cute.
He's on the cover.
He is.
Volume.
He is. And yet he remains nameless. And he's buying and being so cute. Anyway. Please.
And yeah, I do want to highlight that you're looking at Admiral of the Fleet, Supreme Commander of the Navy.
Top guy. This isn't a nobody.
Uh-huh.
We also find out at page 5 that Flamingo used to have a bounty of 340 million berries, and Kuma's was 296 million. That's a lot of berries. And, if we think about the bounty amount in terms of power scaling, that does give us a good idea of where they place in the proverbial food chain.
Be aware that they suspend bounties when they become warlords, so anything that they
these
may
are the
have achieved...
former bounties, yeah. And, bounties can keep growing, as we have seen with Luffy, and so it's like, okay, well, if those bounties have been paused, who's to say that maybe in actuality Luffy's bounty should not actually be more than theirs? I don't know. It's an interesting thing to keep in mind as we're being introduced to these new characters, and as the Straw Hats keep seemingly defeating their enemies. Right now it's at 100 million, but does that really mean that's what he is actually worth? He might be worth more than that. We just haven't found out yet, because he maybe hasn't had the opportunity to defeat someone of a higher bounty. So anyway, it's an interesting thing to keep in mind as we are being introduced to new characters and developing on that aspect of the storyline. And sure enough, page 7. There he is. We see Hawkeye and all of his vampiric glory, looking fresh with the hat.
Big titty goth BF.
Right? I love his facial hair. It's giving vampire for sure. I love it.
Yeah.
And his
I
ship
don't know, it comes up pretty douchey.
His
God, Dylan.
His ship
I'm sorry,
was,
his shirt, his fucking
I don't
beard.
know. It's giving Riz for me.
It's like,
I like it.
only wear Ed Hardy, bro.
Okay, so I like it because it is such a caricature. I feel like it would take balls to try that look. And then I think he does, in fact, pull it off.
I think he does. I think he would be one of the very few people
like,
on this
could you
planet
imagine me trying
that could pull it off.
I would look like a clown.
Yeah. No.
I don't take any offense.
No offense.
I said it. Dylan, could you imagine me wearing that? Hawkeye's get up, even the down to the
facial hair?
Like, as a costume?
No.
Like
that
that
would be his
style?
look.
Like it's something I
could
show up one day.
See it.
It doesn't mean I like it.
Would you say something? Would you?
I would.
You
I'd be like,
actually...
listen, Michael, I love you, but
I'd be like, bro,
we need
you
to
sure?
talk.
Yeah, you're sure? All right, confidence is king.
Are you sure?
If I ever pull some goofy ass shit, I please don't feed into it. Just lay it on the line. I need it to be laid out.
No taken.
I need honesty, or
Nah,
else
like, if you feeling it, dog, it's like, nah, dude, I look good. I'm like, fair enough, dog. You do you.
You know what, Dylan? I believe you mean that from the bottom of your heart, actually. So
shit, I'm rocking a mullet. So I mean, it's
and
like,
it looks great.
It does
and
look
I would
great.
tell you.
I would also. I would tell you
stupid.
if you look stupid. Yeah, but if Michael was to show up dressed up like that with his freaking nipples out.
Well, that's not unusual. That's
well,
not
yeah, I
unusual.
would say the
it's
nipples
not just
being
the
out
nipples.
wouldn't
It's
surprise
the
me.
nipples and everything else. It's. I'd be like, Michael, hi, come over, come
You'd
here.
be like, read the room, honey.
Let's have a chat, and I'd take you to another room, and I'd be like,
The hat. They're mocking you. They're not laughing with you.
please reconsider. I love you, and if it truly makes you happy, go for it. But
Right.
Anyway, also him saying at the bottom of page 7 that he's a little curious about the pirates you'll be discussing made me smile. I think he knows that the Straw Hats are a threat. I think he's aware, especially, I think
Such as Zolo.
he was able to see the potential in Zoro when he first encountered him. And I feel like he's now aware of what has been going on, of what they have done between then and now. And he's like, okay. I think if anyone is aware of how powerful they can be, it's him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he's seeing the progression. And I like this, I wouldn't call it humility, but just a like, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to wait to see what you guys have to say, but I have my own thoughts about it. That's the kind of attitude that he's giving.
He has always given that kind of like, I actually don't care about anything below me. I am a vampire.
But I feel like he doesn't see the Straw Hats as being below him. I feel like he considers them. I
think he thinks the whole system that he's a part of is kind of...
Yes, kind of ridiculous. Yeah. So I like him as a character. I liked him when we were introduced to him, and I'm happy to see him again for sure.
Even if it's just for a little bit.
And then we get a new character number I don't even know anymore. I will say it in French. Lafitte is the way I would say that.
Without giving too much away, I don't think you're going to get swept away in trying to keep track of a bunch of stuff. I
appreciate that, because that is a concern I'm going to get
take
into.
Them at face value here, and if they come back, then...
It's not going to be all at the same time also, because that's what I'm feeling right now, is it's all happening all at once.
No, this is building the wider world.
Yeah.
The Straw Hats are going to the sky. And again, sorry if I'm giving too much away. I do think it's valuable to say that you're going to see very few, if any, of these characters really have any part to play in the arc.
Right.
Just a tool for...
Just plopping things there to keep our attention and to keep our minds...
Yes, to keep your minds wider.
Yeah, that's fair. And that actually is comforting and reassuring to me, because that was a concern of mine.
Some of these characters you will never forget at a certain point, but some of them you will, and that's okay. And I'm not going to tell you who's who or what's what.
Yeah, so Lafitte, he knows how to make an entrance, and I gotta say, like, he's giving a little bit Bon Clay.
Panic at the Disco?
Also Panic at the Disco. He's giving, because he seemingly is, he knows how to make an entrance. He's a little bit flamboyant, and less so that Bon Clay, but in the same, like, I'm going to give you a show kind of attitude. This is what he's giving.
He's not being goofy in any way.
No, I think it's very intentional and interesting character. I will say, though, his eyes creep me the fuck out. Like, it looks as though he can turn unhinged like this. Like, go fucking batshit crazy in an instant is what...
Oh, you know what?
This is looking like.
Alex DeLarge from Clockwork Orange.
That is so good with the hat and everything. I wonder if that's not intentional. This is absolutely giving Clockwork Orange. Oh my gosh, I hadn't thought about it. That is exactly what it's giving. Good call out, Michael.
It just hit me when you said can flip on an instant.
Yeah. Like that ultra-violence stuff, for sure. Yeah. For sure. And Tsuru confirms it by saying that he was known for his brutality in the middle of page 9.
There you go, right?
Yeah, it's known. I am curious to find out who he is looking to endorse for the position at the time. We do find out who it is. It is Blackbeard, if I recall correctly.
Yep. Teach.
Yeah. Page 10 takes us back to the Grand Line, where one of Shanks's men, Rockstar, delivers a letter from Shanks to none other than Whitebeard. A few notes on this. Taking note that Rockstar has a bounty of 94 million berries, which is nothing to sneeze at for a newbie. I feel like we might see more of him and his prowess. Otherwise, I'm not sure why they would bother noting his bounty. I feel like if you're introducing a character and you're saying what their bounty is, he's probably not going to be just a random ass character.
I also think it serves to kind of frame the red hair pirates as well.
Right, in terms of
the newbie
where
on
are
their
they?
Crew,
yeah. It tells us that for the red hair pirates, if he's the new guy.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. Oh, that's the new guy, and he's had 94 million bounty berry when Luffy's got 100?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something.
Take Shanks seriously.
Yeah, for sure. I always have. I have a soft spot for Shanks. You can tell a lot by where Whitebeard sits in the hierarchy, by the way that he talks about Shanks at page 11, calling him a brat, saying, if he has something to tell me, he can come here in person with a bottle of good booze.
Yeah, same.
And as imposing as Whitebeard looks in the 2-page spread at pages 12 and 13, that's a big man. That's a big man. We can also see that he is not healthy. He's wired up to a variety of machines. He's being tended to by a whole crew of nurses, which, hello, nurse.
Foxy nurses, let's go ahead and
say.
He's drinking grog.
You can pick him.
He's drinking grog by the barrel. Also, just noting that for someone called Whitebeard, he does not have a beard. He just has a mustache.
I don't even know if that's what is that?
I'm not sure, but it's not on his.
Well, it's a
chin.
mustache, but he's got this like the nose breathing apparatus in there too.
Right, he has the
true.
thingy in his the thing that would
the civet or whatever the fuck they're called.
Yeah, and the mustache, but he doesn't actually have a beard. Just saying, just finding that out. And then there he is again. Second time this chapter, but this one I'm the happiest to see again. It's red-haired Shanks, baby. Love the full body shot of him at page 15. The confident look on his face. He's so ready, unbothered, undisturbed. And I feel like, because we were introduced to this character as at the very, very beginning of the story in his relationship with Luffy at the time. And it's like, now that I've gotten to know Luffy, I see a lot of Shanks in Luffy and vice versa. I feel like there's a certain, like, not to whip out my French words, but like a certain laissez-faire attitude to them, like that they're seemingly kind of unbothered by most things.
You want to know how we say that in the U.S.?
Laissez-faire.
Yeah.
I hate it. But like nonchalance or something of being like, I'm not going to be easily bothered by things. And that's something that I see both in Shanks and in Luffy, but that when it's time to take something seriously, they do. So I can see where Luffy might have drawn inspiration from his. I would be willing to say that, if Shanks had stuck around longer, he would have become Luffy's mentor for sure. If he's not already a little bit like that for him.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but I'm happy to see him again.
I do want to put a little finer point on something you said earlier. You were talking about reflecting on Whitebeard referring to Shanks as a brat.
Yeah.
And I think the sentiment kind of goes both ways, because Shanks clearly does not see him as someone to be scared of, He is not shying away from this.
No, I feel like Shanks might be like... I think Shanks might be aware of the unspoken hierarchy. And like, this is someone I should be considering as not necessarily a superior, but someone that would technically be higher up on, again, the proverbial food chain than I. But that's not going to dissuade him from confronting him and from showing up and from being like, okay, old man. You know what I mean? Like, this is what it's giving. And Shanks pulls that off very well as a character in general. And again, I don't feel like it comes across as being cocky. It comes across as confident, but yeah, I don't know. Shanks is an interesting character, and I feel like I want to say a lot of things about him, but the truth is that I don't know him that much yet. We've mostly known him, through the beginning of the story and through like just mentions of
casual
him.
References.
Yeah, exactly.
He did. Him and Mihawk met up somewhat recently.
Right.
I don't know if you remember that.
But he's not a character I'm as familiar with as, for example, the Straw Hats. I don't know him that well yet, but I have a feeling that we might get to a point where we are going to be more intricately, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, familiar with him. We're going to get more familiar with him, and I'm looking forward to it because I feel like there's a lot to like there. And then, so we get a great 2-page spread of the Blackbeard pirates at pages 18 and 19. And I'm pretty sure that we've met all of them before in the previous volume. So from left to right, the Grim Reaper is the guy that had offered Zoro an apple, which he had refused because they looked like they were dying, and he was like, no thanks. Blackbeard, we spent a lot of time with back in town. Supersonic is the sharpshooter that killed the birds as the Straw Hats were arriving in Mocktown. And Champ, I think we did see beat someone up.
Yeah, he was the
in
one
the
running
streets.
around beating the shit out of people.
Yeah. So we've seen all of these guys before. We just didn't know that they were part of the Blackbeard pirates.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing about Blackbeard, the last name Teach, is the actual real world last name of Blackbeard. Blackbeard is Edward Teach.
Oh, thank you.
Do you notice anything else about his name? Again, it's there.
Marshall D. There's a D.
Marshall D. Oh shit! Yeah.
There's a D. Monkey D. Luffy. Gold D. Roger.
The perspective of a normal person standing next to him, they are all massively
They're big.
bigger than everyone else.
I like tall boys, so I'm happy. Except for Grim Reaper looks like he's about to die, and his horse. Please, just take them out of their misery. They need to be taken out back and just shot behind the head.
Stop riding that thing. It's dying.
He's already dead. Beating a dead horse.
Riding a dying horse.
Oh, but yeah, I very much enjoyed that two-page spread. So yeah, and then in getting Blackbeard's full name, that also tells us that Lafitte was trying to get him to replace Crocodile as a warlord of the sea at page 16, which it seems like although he's not heard of, we haven't heard of him yet, he aims to achieve the notoriety that will get him the title of warlord, and a generous bounty by capturing or killing Luffy is his goal, and we will see that this goal remains to be met.
But Lafitte did promise something's coming.
Yeah, he certainly did. But yeah, that was a good chapter. I quite enjoyed it, but that's what I had for 234. Dylan?
Yes. I do like cover page. Cover page does also give, what was it, Dry Docks vibes?
Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. Or I can't vocalize it very well. I'm going to resist the urge to go listen to it, because whenever it's brought up.
And then I like, we cut back to Marijoa. That's what I'm just going to keep calling it.
That's fine. Do you?
That some of, I guess the higher elite Marine guards are just, killing each other, and they have no control over it. Turns out it's Flamingo Boy. It has mind control. I guess that's his devil power fruits, is he can make people do what they don't want to do. And he's kind of diabolical, because he's sitting there joking around, and then he makes them draw their swords on each other, and they get ready to kill each other. And then that's when we get to meet Buddha Sengoku, the Admiral of the Fleet, Supreme Commander of the Navy. Like his outfit, the hat's a little dumb.
I like it.
Don't get the goat.
The bird is their symbol. It's on a lot of it looks like an M in many cases, but it is a bird with its wings.
It's just weird they choose a seagull, which is literally the rats of the bird, the rat of birds. Instead of doing something a more mystical, like an albatross. And then, like we said, I do like the former bounties kind of thing. Kind of gives you an idea of what they're... But the question is, how much higher would their bounty be if they still had bounties during when they were warlords?
That's assuming they would be higher. Because, maybe other people have gotten stronger over them. I'm not exactly sure how the bounties work. Can they decrease?
Well, it's the thing. It's because I'm looking at the warlords of the sea are privateers. It's okay, the English crown is paying you to raid Spanish ships, so your bounty with the Spanish is just going to get higher and higher. But all the Spanish ships you take, the British don't care about, so your bounty doesn't get any higher. Right. So I'm just kind of curious how that would work out. But I like their he calls them sea scum, and he's like, oh, that's not nice. And the other guy's like, well, he's right though. And Hawkeye shows up.
Were you excited for some of those characters' return?
It was interesting to see Mihawk come back, and then because he does mention that the Straw Hats aren't to be trifled with.
Well, he says that he's interested.
Okay, I thought. Did he not mention?
I don't know if he specifically says that. I think you can extrapolate a bit.
But yeah, it's interesting that he's coming in. He's like, I don't really have any intent on getting involved. I'm just kind of want to see how it shakes out, which kind of fits how I kind of think of Mihawk.
Bad boy of the warlord system.
And then we get the new tap dancing character comes in, especially with the cane and the hat and everything. It just really gives tap dancing. And then like we said, Rockstar showing up. He's the new guy, and he's worth 94 million berries. That's kind of, it's almost seeming like maybe should have Red Hair Shanks as your next warlord of the sea. But it seems like what I'm getting is they're concerned because they think Red Hair Shanks and Whitebeard are going to join forces and try and topple the world government. Kind of like the Rebels versus the Empire in Star Wars.
There hasn't been a Lord of the Rings reference yet. You guys
Not
gotta work
for
on
this
that.
episode.
We'll get there. Once they start going in circles, though, we'll be like, okay, there we go.
Who says that again?
It's
Frodo.
Frodo's like, oh, Sam's like, oh, it's another bog, and Frodo's like, it's the same bog. We're
going in circles.
There's our reference.
We're going in circles. Freaking Frodo.
Do you guys like Frodo?
What?
Do y'all like Frodo?
He's my least favorite of the hobbits. But it
Yeah,
doesn't mean I don't like
he's
him.
Out of all the hobbits, he seems the most spineless. He's like,
Sure.
I'm taking on this great responsibility and burden. Pity me. And it's like, but he still sees it through. So
I feel like Frodo is the best example of what a reasonable human being would go through if they were in the presence of the One Ring.
Is a fair comparison. It might not go one for one, but
No, I'd say Usopp is very much Pippin coded.
Oh,
I was gonna say either Merry or Pippin. Yeah,
I see them as one character. Am I way off?
they're they're different.
Pippin's kind of like a clumsy doof and goofball, where Merry is kind of like more like a
Like they're a little bit more mature. Yeah.
charismatic, mischievous kind of guy. Get back to it. I like the depiction of Whitebeard and the fact that he's got the foxy nurses. It's like, damn dog, what that cost to get that kind of home Medicaid. And then I like we cut back. We cut to he's returning the message back to Shanks, and they're on a winter island, which is kind of cool. It seems like there's multiple different crews trying to like meet up and try and find Luffy and them, but it's like we've heard with the Grand Line, it's like every time you do a log post, it's going to send you to a random spot. You'll end up at the same exit. Oh, and apparently no, it's he didn't come back to return the message. He is using transponders now.
Well, it's interesting, I think. The dynamic between Shanks and this underling. Bro wants to beat himself up so badly, and Shanks is like, don't even worry about it, dog.
He's like, yeah, you're going to try and get pushy with Whitebeard. You're probably going to get your ass kicked. Just come on back. We got it.
Yeah,
we'll meet him in person. And then it's like, all right, let's sail to Whitebeard's base. Yahoo, we're going to fight. And the whole crew
won't
is
the
like,
government try to stop us?
probably.
I hope so.
Yeah, I'm itching for a fight. And the fact that he's one arm, like, it's weird to me. I know he's missing the one arm. And the fact that he wears his sword on the same hip as his only arm is kind of weird. Because it's like, how are you going to draw that? That's going to be really bad draw.
We haven't seen him fight, have we? We haven't seen Shanks fight.
No, we just saw him yell at a sea monster, actually.
Yeah, well, he didn't even yell at him. He just stared it down. I was like, go away. And I was like, oh, fuck, dog, I'm out of here. And I already forgot to get the tap dancer guy is talking to them again, and he's just like, I got something cooking that'll make you remember the Blackbeard Pirates. So he's got a scheme in mind. And I am kind of really curious about what he gets out of it. It's like, what's the benefit of you putting the Blackbeard Pirates first? Like, why are you planning and scheming for them? What's going on? And then we get back to Mocktown, and I like how Blackbeard bumps into Sarquise, and Sarquise starts running his mouth too, and immediately gets his ass beat just like his boss did.
Just like him. Floorboards and everything.
I mean, freaking deserved.
And then I love the way he deals with it. He's like, I don't deal with you small fry. And it's like, damn.
I feel like the use of small fry has been like a deep cut. You know? Like,
yeah.
You don't just call anyone a small fry. Like, this is serious.
But now that seeing the crew is really cool. And seeing that, I want to see we do get to see their boat. Because it's weird that the big muscly dude is their helmsman.
Why?
Because when I first saw it, because it's like, it takes, you're thinking if you're using a whip staff, the only leverage you have is that staff. So you do have to have like a good bit of muscle to actually turn it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with the wheel, you've got pulley systems. It's a little easier to do. But it's interesting to me. It made me really interested to see their ship because it's like, oh, if he's this jacked, maybe they've got like a massive fucking ship that takes that kind of build to be able to steer it.
Okay.
I love he's got like a WWE-esque belt on. That's pretty great. He's giving, with the headband thing he's wearing too, he's kind of giving Macho Man.
He kind of is.
Their designs are chef's kiss.
I love their character designs. I have a soft spot for Supersonic's design.
I do really like Supersonic as well.
I like the hat and the eyeglass or whatever like he's using for I'm guessing it's like a scope of sorts, and like the Grim Reaper is giving very much like the personification of death, like
so yeah, I was kind of thinking like the SCP, like the Plague Doctor SCP.
Yeah, I was thinking, or
it's like, no, I kill people, I don't save them.
If anyone, listeners or you guys are familiar with Supernatural, the show,
oh yeah,
there's death as a character.
Well, yeah, because the death is one of the four horsemen.
Yes, exactly. And
they deal with the four
Death
horsemen of the
plays a
apocalypse.
fairly...
Is Pestilence in it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
And they deal with pestilence. And I love the way the horsemen are portrayed is like, they don't have horses, they have classic muscle cars.
Classic cars, yeah.
That's
No,
like,
yeah,
wow,
that
that's
sounds
fucking
cool as
It's
dope.
cool.
Should I watch Supernatural?
It's like, listen, I watched up until season... So they released 15 seasons, and I watched up until
they're
season
coming out
11.
with more. They're bringing
And
it back.
I liked it to that point. Anyway, but Grim Reaper was giving Death and Supernatural a little bit, like, sickly and, you know...
But I will say that is all I have on that.
So again, I'm going to have to come at this with some degree of reservation for my full thoughts. So this will probably be quick again. I really like the opening art, Usopp and the whale. It's a beautiful shot. I think it's very subtle. And then we are getting some deep lore, and unfortunately, I can't even go into how deep everything is going to get here. This is the deep lore. This is the world that the Straw Hats live in, and some of it will absolutely come to rear its head in huge ways. And I don't think you guys had any other assumption other than this means something. So, Sengoku, Doflamingo, Kuma, the goat, the little goat, love it. And I thought it was funny when they're sitting around the round table, the warlords and the Navy people. Sengoku says 2 out of 6 is more than I expected. And this is before Hawkeye decided to show up and was like, 2 out of 6 ain't bad. And then Hawkeye's like, actually, I wasn't going to come, but you know what? I actually decided to come. And it's just funny. It kind of shows how little control there actually is over this system. Like, these are at their core pirates who the world government leans on to some extent, but it kind of makes you question how much value is actually in this. So, and then I wrote Hawkeye, yippee. I assume that this place that they're meeting at, Sacred Land Marijois, is among the most secure places on Earth. But yeah, bro shows up. I said Alex DeLarge. In my notes, I had freaky Marilyn Manson circus.
I mean,
chic.
I honestly, that Alex DeLarge comparison to me is spot on.
Yeah, I don't think it didn't come to me in my note writing, but yeah, I don't think I could have nailed it any better. Yeah, and then we get Whitebeard and Shanks. I mean, this chapter delivers, and then it delivers, and then it delivers in so many ways. I do want to point out one thing. It may have been on your radar, but I just want to make sure it's out in the open. If you could turn your attention to the bottom of page 11, Rockstar says, "But my boss said that this was a very important message." And Whitebeard says, "I have a pretty good idea what it's about. Blackbeard and Ace." So
there's a lot of overlap there, a lot of complicated relationships, and
there are some vines that are intermingling, and yeah, it's up to you to
well, I guess it leads me to wonder what's the history behind that, like what has led these people's relationships to be so intricately intertwined.
Right. Hopefully we'll get some
I'm looking
answers.
at Michael right now on the webcam, and I'm like, I'm trying to read his face.
Read this, motherfucker.
Read these nuts. Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, I wrote our boy when Shake shows up because I don't think one of us has anything negative to say.
I have a soft
about
spot for redheads also, I gotta say.
And then Lafitte says, we have plans to amend that. Clearly the Blackbeard pirates have something they're cooking up, possibly tied with Ace,
so
somehow perhaps involving
Lafitte
Shanks.
is part of the Blackbeard pirates, yeah?
Well, he clearly knows that they are cooking up something, and Augur, Supersonic would be his code name, if you will. Captain, we're supposed to meet Lafitte here. And I like Blackbeard's response. That's not like you, Augur. If we miss him, we miss him. It's fate. Because I don't know if you remember his little speech when he killed the seagulls.
Yeah.
He's like, a shame that fate, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Flowery words, yeah. So, Blackbeard's calling him at his own bullshit in that moment. And yeah, I'm not going to say whether he is or is not, but clearly there's a connection there, and it's more than just a surface level connection. That's all I'll give you on that.
Okay.
But I just, when he says there's plans to amend that, I mean, it's just so fun seeing the dominoes get stacked here because and I've told you guys that there is something so good coming, I would say relatively soon, but relatively soon in a 1,000 chapter manga.
Are you being a tease, Michael?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, the chapter's being the tease. I'm just making sure that
we're aware of how much we are actually being teased.
How in the dark you truly are.
I kind of love it. I love surprises.
When I say that we are approaching slowly, but we're approaching peak storytelling, I would say this is the first domino. I mean, I guess you could say some stuff that happened before was dominoes as well, but this is like just a big one. And you guys will come to look back and be like, damn.
Oh, shit.
Damn,
okay.
damn.
Okay.
What the fuck?
Like bookmark this chapter in my mind.
Bookmark 234. Yeah.
Okay.
234. 234. You can't
that's
forget
easy. 234. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy.
And you know, I would agree. The 2-pager of all the Blackbeard Pirates is
great.
nice. Their designs are cool. It's a stunner. Summarize. Love it. I can't say any more than that. Love the Blackbeard Pirate designs quite a lot. Warlord meeting, hella cool. V235.
And just kind of to build on what you were just saying, Michael, because, you know, and that's kind of a trend in this volume is that we previously in the story, we've heard bits and pieces about these different elements, and now it's like they're all coming together. Like
they've always been together, actually.
We knew,
but now it's
right,
coming,
and now we're seeing it because we knew about the Warlords of the Sea. We knew that there were 7 of them. And now it's like, okay, well, we had seen Hawkeye. We had seen Crocodile. And now it's like, oh, shit.
You know what? Something you guys might
more.
have not remembered, actually, that happened back in Whiskey Peak. No, not Whiskey Peak. What? Drum Island, Drum Kingdom? We had a small flash of Ace. He was looking for Luffy. Or he mentioned that Luffy... tell you what. I'm going to double check, make sure I'm not overstepping my boundaries, but it is worth remembering. I'll go ahead and pass it on to you, and then I'll come back with that knowledge.
But I feel like this is a moment where a lot of things that we were at least aware of to some extent are now coming together and being kind of built upon.
It's only going to come together more.
Right.
I promise.
Right. I like that because I think it would be easy to try to just put some story elements in there just for the sake of having something there as filler. But this is not filler, is what we're finding out. Everything that we have seen so far means something and is something that we need to keep in mind for the future because seemingly now it's all coming back.
Yes.
So it's making me pay closer attention to certain things that maybe in the past I would not have or would have more easily dismissed. And now I'm like, wait a minute. And I mean, most of them I hadn't dismissed. Like Shanks, I hadn't dismissed. Hawkeye, I hadn't dismissed. But like, I don't know. It's a big universe and it's a long story. And we're still very much still at the beginning of it. And I'm already seeing the way that certain previous elements are being weaved into it. And it's making me eager and excited to find out more about it. So 235.
Okay, before you get, I found exactly, so this was revealed to you. I'm just going to read it straight from the wiki. Monkey D. Luffy reveals that Gold Roger's full name was actually Gold D. Roger, and that her student seems to be sailing with a very dangerous man. Also, and the first part wasn't important to what I'm about to say, but I just wanted to make it clear that I was reading from a wiki. Also, 2 of the villagers, remember, they had to give Luffy a message from Ace, a man who was searching for Blackbeard.
Okay. Interesting.
He went to Drum Island looking for Blackbeard, and he wasn't wrong because they did mention, this has been in the story, that Blackbeard had been in Drum Island.
I had forgotten about that. But I and not to like toot our own horn as a podcast, but I really appreciate the fact that we do have someone such as Michael who is familiar enough with the story to be able to call back to certain elements. Because I feel like, honestly, to toot Dylan and I's horn, I feel like we do a good job. We do a good job on picking up some things. You clocked
Nico Robin from the fucking get-go.
Like, we're not...
Dylan was a little skeptical, but I don't think he was actually opposed to what you were saying.
Once I saw Igaram was alive still, I was like, okay. She's like, I was pulling punches. I didn't want to kill any of y'all. It's like, okay, maybe.
We're keeping close attention enough to be able to catch on to these like finer details or things that will be coming back in the future.
It's a lot. You can't be expected to pick up everything.
But exactly. But we can't pick up on everything. So the fact that you're there to be like, hey, listen, did you guys remember this? And I think that's actually, I think it would be one of the first instances of us coming across a moment like that where, hey, this is something that was previously relevant. We've taken a little break from it, but now it's back at the forefront of the storytelling. So I appreciate...
Ace is looking for Blackbeard.
I appreciate that a lot, Michael.
That's why he was around Buggy.
Yeah.
Like, he's not there for Buggy. He just happened to be perhaps looking for a certain pirate.
Well, and we know that Shanks and Buggy used to be crewmates, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's just all of the pieces are floating around.
Pepe Sylvia.
And then we're like picking them up. We're picking the pieces up and trying to put them together in something cohesive.
Yeah.
But
I will do my best to never give a spoiler, but if something I think has happened, I'm going to make sure that it's not missed and that you're not surprised.
Okay.
Or not surprised. Surprised is good. Not like blindsided. Like,
right.
Why wasn't this,
Like, oh, this is coming out of the blue. And then you're going to be like,
yes.
Actually, it didn't.
Yeah. I want to make sure you have it now rather than then. So
yeah. Alrighty, so 235, the intro image. Well, I will just start with the title, The Knock Upstream. It becomes very relevant. The intro image itself, I think it's kind of sweet that Robin would help out the critter by giving him an extra leg while he's injured.
I guess. It's weird.
It's a little weird, but I feel like, some people might talk about, third leg, so funny. Let's make an innuendo out of it, but...
That's you.
That's me.
You are some people.
But I thought it was sweet, and I kind of like seeing, for sure it's her foot because the foot has the same shoe that she has on. But the animal himself seemingly looks a little bit skeptical, like, what the fuck?
That'd be me.
Where the heck did this sprout of? Who are you? First of all, who are you and what did you do with my body?
I would never want Nico Robin to use her powers on me.
It is terrifying. Please. But like in this specific instance, it is useful because now he can walk normally while his leg is injured. Right?
Maybe.
Oh, no.
I assume she has full control over that leg.
She does. I would think so. Anyway.
And then how long is it going to last? You don't get used to it, brother.
No. Long enough so that his little leggy heals, maybe? I don't know.
Hopefully.
Actually, going into the chapter itself, we're back with the Straw Hats. Luffy has joined them after having beaten the ever-living shit out of Bellamy. Thank you again for that, Luffy. That was a, public service. Everyone wanted that. Everyone wanted Bellamy to choke on his own teeth, to be honest.
Yeah, same.
And
I'm everyone. Hi.
It's me. Hi. And yeah, so at page 4, we can see that the crew, or what the crew was up to during that time. The Marigot had a glow up and was given wings. I'm assuming to help with the writing of the geyser. We will see that this is certainly something that helps in getting them to their destination, basically.
I did not pick up that it was a chicken until Zorro said something. I almost called him Zolo there. Anyway.
First of all, how dare you? Are you turning into Dylan?
I've always been Dylan.
What?
Actually.
Truth is, I've been Dylan from the start.
Bang! I pull off my mask, and then Dylan pulls off his mask, and he's me, and I'm him.
And then we pull off the mask again, and then we're each other.
We're back to who we were, and then we're brooms.
I would be so confused.
To be honest, Diane, I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't know if I need to be more sober or more high for this.
I think high.
I think I need to be more high for this. So, okay, first few pages, I don't have a whole lot to say as the Straw Hats are on their way, but here are a couple of highlights. The top of page 6, I think it's very cute that Luffy offers Masirian Shuju his Hercules beetle before leaving. Again, I think I made a reference to that last episode, but it's giving Beetle the character in Zelda who is a character he's a salesman, and every
There's
time
our first Zelda reference.
yeah, every time you show up with a beetle, he's like, oh, you brought me a beetle, can you sell it to me? And he's so excited about it. I love Beetle, the character. Middle of page 8. It is somewhat encouraging to have Cricket say, no one has ever proved that El Dorado or Skypiea doesn't exist.
It's such a small throwaway line, but I also really enjoy it.
I think it's great because that tells us that there's some hope to hang on to, because something can be like demonstrably false, but in this case it's not. It hasn't been demonstrated as true, but it has not been demonstrated as false. And that gives us kind of this idea of the benefit of the doubt, or the openness of, well, what if, you know? And that was oddly inspiring. From what we see at page 10, I guess the Blackbeard pirates are aiming to ambush the Straw Hats before they can make it to the sky.
I like that ship.
It is a nice ship. It's just big old logs.
Yeah.
It's giving log house, you know?
It's a raft.
It is.
It's a giant
It's just
raft.
a big raft that just so happens to have like cannons in it.
I mean, I assume they can go into each of these logs, which again, I just think is a
Like
really
hollowed
cool
out
idea.
logs? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's where their living quarters are?
And that kind of leads into the helmsman. Makes a lot of sense. Since it is a raft, literally just needs a huge fucking rudder.
Yeah.
Something big to keep it going. And to be quite honest, it's extremely dangerous. There's no like railing or anything. I mean, there is nothing between the what's the top of the deck called? The poop deck?
No, the poop deck is the poop deck is where you actually shit.
Oh,
that's at the very front of the ship.
There's literally, that's a reason why it's called the poop deck.
And it's always at the front of the ship, because the front of the ship will dip down after it goes over a wave, and then water will come and wash it up. Go out there, squat, do your business.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Oh,
that makes total sense.
Did they call it poop back then?
Well, no one wants to swab the poop deck.
I'm curious on the origin of the word poop,
the poop deck might not actually be where they shit. You might be right. The poop deck might just be the main deck. But there is a section on the ship, at the front of the ship, where they do shit because it gets rinsed out by the sea.
Okay.
Interesting. But yeah, and I'm also a little bit curious about their Jolly Roger, because it's showing 3 skulls. And I'm wondering why it's 3. Because like as we saw them being introduced, at least at the end of the previous chapter, as being the 4 main members. So I'm wondering, why is it 3? Anyway.
Do you remember I want to say it was last volume, not last episode, where Luffy they're walking away from the interaction with Blackbeard, and Zoro's like, what's up with that guy? And Luffy says something along the lines of, it's not one guy.
Okay, yes, I do remember that. And that had caused a little bit of confusion to me in terms of, well, I only see the one guy. Like when they were talking to him, I think in the streets in Mocktown, all we could see was the one guy at first glance as we're being introduced to that character. Okay. Little crumbs. Leaving me little crumbs. I like that. So moving on, actually, in my notes, I had written low-key love seeing them, but no, I'm just going to say straight up, love seeing them mess with the Southbird. But also, I feel bad for the poor thing. When he tries to keep facing, he tries so hard to keep facing south, but then he tries to keep facing north. He
simply cannot.
But then he gets uncomfortable in the middle of page 12. Like, Oh, he's trying so hard. Yeah, specifically middle of page 12.
It feels a little bit abusive, to be quite honest.
It feels so. Yeah, he's like, it turned north, and he's like, jaw. It has to face south, or it gets antsy, and that reminded me of myself.
Oh, okay.
When
are a bird.
When I'm trying to pout, or if I'm trying to be a brat, but I inevitably cannot help but like kind of soften because of who I am as a person. Like, oh, I'm trying so hard to have the resolve to be a contrarian, but actually I can't.
Actually, you have a great point, and I love you.
I know, exactly. I love that. And he's just the bird's face. He's trying so hard. The situation does get quite tense starting at page 14. Everything kind of unfolds at the same time. The Emperor Cloud to the southwest, a current at 12 o'clock, the creature at 9 o'clock, a whirlpool at 10 o'clock. It's like everything is setting up for this to happen, but it's like, oh shit, we knew that this was going to happen. I don't know that we were actually ready for everything to happen all at the same time. You know, like, oh, this is real. This isn't just in a book. This isn't just someone telling us that this might happen. This is actually happening, and we need to actually do something about it right now. The wave kicks up at page 16, and at the bottom of the page, Nami confirms that the log pose is still pointing straight up. Just quick note for those pages, yeah, particularly starting at 16 and going into 17, I really enjoy seeing the way that the characters are drawn with water on their faces and bodies. Like, you can see in all of them that you see the little drip, the droplets of water.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a really good way to illustrate just how bad the waves are. Beyond just drawing the waves, this is a good callback to they're getting splashed. They're getting the mist from the water, you know? And I thought that was an interesting detail that could have easily been put aside, but it makes it that much more realistic. And I appreciate Oda's eye for that kind of precision, for sure. And then, yeah, the 2-pager with the giant whirlpool was excellent. You see the scope of it. It's evident now that we see how small the ships are as compared to the whirlpool itself. And at the bottom of that 2-page spread, every Straw Hat reacts exactly the way that you would expect him to. Like Sanji saying, I'll protect Nami and Robin.
I don't know about Chopper. I can't read Choppers.
Because Chopper was previously thinking that he was thinking, oh, it's going to be like a roller coaster. He was seeing something so innocent and easy. And then he's like, oh shit, actually it might not be that fun.
He looks excited.
He looks a little excited, but also a little bit scared. And Usopp is terrified, clearly. Zoro's like, sorry, Usopp, there's no turning back. This is it. This is what we're doing. Luffy's laughing hysterically and super excited. He's like, here we fucking come. Robin is like very factual in saying, I haven't seen a phenomenon like that.
This is big.
Yeah,
He's large.
This is a big deal. And then Nami's in pure disbelief. And I don't know, I just thought that was very, very typical of them as characters. And that's what I had for 235.
Let me touch on the SBS before we move on.
Yeah, go for it.
So we got 2 points.
Yes, the matchups. Yeah.
This is giving the scale. So you are very compatible with this type of person. You should try talking to this person. Okay, V and Dylan, I'll try talking to you. I'll give it a shot, I guess.
Do you want to be friends?
You're pushing it. This is moving too fast.
We can be friends and hold hands, maybe.
Some Haagen-Dazs, a foot rub, and some sandwiches.
Wait a minute.
Why are you so obsessed with Haagen-Dazs lately, Dylan? What the fuck is happening?
Who doesn't like some Haagen-Dazs?
I don't think you've ever had Haagen-Dazs.
Nah, I'm a Ben & Jerry's guy.
Yeah, it's better.
But Haagen-Dazs sounds bougie. And that's why
That's
why the ladies love it.
No, but is there something behind the Haagen-Dazs reference? I have to know.
Well, I've just known people who buy it all, like women who buy it all the time.
The little pints of ice cream that are kind of expensive and they sound kind of fancy because they have some made-up German name and whatever, you know?
Like Ben.
Because after she gets the hog, she has some Haagen-Dazs. Nah, that's not it. Cover story, I like the houses. I'd live in a house like that. A little treehouse action, pretty sweet.
Oh, that's a lot of effort to get to your bedroom.
Yeah, that's why I just don't go out.
Yeah, we're just gonna stay in, and because I'm the type of person to step out, go out for a drink somewhere, and then look up at the freaking ladder and be like, I'm just gonna sleep outside tonight.
Yeah,
not with all them fucking hyenas running around.
No, Robin's gonna take care of the hyenas for me, hopefully.
Thanks, Robin.
And we cut in, of course, Nami's upset and being impatient. What a fucking surprise.
She has been like that.
Like the trapper's like, well, he might have gotten beaten up. And then she's like, well, if he did, I'll never forgive him. It's like, all right, why don't you go back to fight him?
Yeah. And then Zoro says the exact same damn thing. Like, I love that he's calling her out every single time.
It's like, make up your fucking mind. Jesus Christ. It's like, I did it. It's like, hurry, Luffy, we have to sail. And he's like, guys, check this out. And everyone's like, what? And he's like, it's a Hercules beetle. It's like, yeah, I beat the guy like 6 hours ago, and then I found this beetle and chased it around the woods for 5 hours.
Well, it's kind of funny how they make him they make the beetle look so big at page 3.
Yeah.
And then at the top of page 6, it's tiny and fitting in his hand.
I think the clouds around that image of it on page 3 are a like zoom in kind of deal.
Yeah, it's just that they're making him look like, oh my god,
Larger than life,
Hercules. Yeah.
It's so majestic.
Those are cool beetles.
Yeah.
Though I love beetles. I think they're colorful and just the way that they're made. Yeah.
The merry-go with its upgrades, kind of cool. I like the wings. It's fun. And Luffy's reaction to it. Cricket's smoking again, and then you see his like, brother, just empty the ashtray from time to time. It doesn't need to be that full.
Well, you probably know, but I cannot emphasize enough how real that actually is.
Oh, no, it's real as shit, yeah. I used to smoke for like 10 years. Yeah, it's very
Sometimes you just don't empty the ashtray.
The ashtray?
You're like, I don't want to start a fire, and you start looking for a spot.
So I've never smoked myself, but my parents, when I was a kid growing up, did smoke, and I remember seeing ashtrays that were just about that full.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, cigarette butts are gross, so I'm not going to touch them.
Yeah.
I'm just going to let them pile up in the corner.
Exactly.
I remember being a kid and my cousin and I hiding under the huge tree in my grandma's backyard, and there were cigarette butts there because everyone used to smoke, and she had me smoke a cigarette butt.
Ugh.
When I was like 6 years old, and I hated it, and I was done. I never smoked. That was my first time and my last time.
And then when I picked up the habit, I got broken up with, and I was all sad.
Oh.
So it's like, I'm just gonna buy a pack. And then a vicious 10-year habit.
Just a casual 10-year habit.
Yeah, vicious. Like I was like pack and a half, 2 packs a day.
Ooh, that's a
No
lot.
way.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But then they scramble because they're on a time crunch, so they scramble to get out of here. And then they set off. I do like Blackbeard's ship, and seeing the prevalence of the portholes is pretty interesting. I don't think we've seen, well, except for like Garp's ship that we've seen in the cover stories, I don't think or in Don Krieg's, don't really see many with a shitload of cannons, and like Blackbeard Edward Teach is actually very well known to have the most guns.
Really?
On his ship.
Queen Anne's Revenge?
Mm-hmm. They're still going down to the wreckage and recovering cannons. Like, I think the count's up to like 42 now.
Bro, how much would you pay for a Blackbeard cannon? Let's say you have the money.
It'd be illegal to own because you can't like nautically salvage shit like that. I think it's illegal. Yeah.
All right.
Like
let's say
ships.
that laws are not a thing. Would you, if you had the money, would you absolutely buy one? Because I know I would.
Yeah, it'd be kind of cool. Like set it up to where it's like have like a glass coffee table top and like the cannon is the base of the coffee table. You could see through it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the raft now, and I'm assuming that, so right now you see 10 total portholes with the cannons. So we can assume that there are 20 if you're assuming that they're the same number on the other 2 faces that we can't see, which is it's a lot.
And it is kind of funny how they tease the Southbird because it's kind of an asshole.
They're so
Southbird
mean
was
to
an
him.
asshole. Yeah, it is animal cruelty, but like the bird's kind of a dickhead.
He was living his best life in his own little world, and these people just showed up, and he was like, y'all need to leave.
But it's like, I'm going to murder you with bugs. Ha ha ha. Fuck you, ha.
And then they just showed up and captured him. I don't know. I'm with the bird on this
I'm
one.
going to murder you with bugs, bitch. Eat bugs.
As a bird myself, I empathize with the Southbird.
But I kind of like the crew of like Masira and the other guy are kind of like, oh well, God, they're making me nervous and everything. And like Luffy, don't worry about it. Let's just relax. And I like how Masira's like, yeah, he's right. Stress kills. And at the bottom, it's like all the sails are leaning to the side, like they're taking it easy.
Didn't even catch that. Yeah. Make the sails chill too. Every panel we get since the first couple with Masira and Shuju just makes me like them more.
Oh yeah, for sure. They're very likable characters. It's like the contention they had was misunderstanding, and they got past that super fast.
It absolutely was. Yeah.
And then we see that they are approaching the Emperor Cloud. Soju's using his radar to kind of get a feel of where this is going to show up, which is super cool. And then the shot of the whirlpool is freaking awesome. And also, I really like the boat towing them because that gives me like World War II vibes. Because there were paratroopers who jumped out of planes, and then there were glider troopers, where it's like C-130 literally dragged a glider behind it, and they would just detach the cable, and the pilot would use it to land.
Anytime someone says a paratrooper, I cannot help but think of Paracoopas, which are the Koopas in Mario that have the wings on them.
Paratroopers. Yeah, kinda.
I've played too much Mario.
But yeah, I mean, that's all I really got.
All right. So, again, we open up with Nami kind of being a shithead here.
It's not Nami's most shining and glorious moment.
This is not who she, is.
No, and I know it's not. I know it's not, but it's like, Nami, what's going on, girly? What's up?
But, yeah, just I feel like we're giving Nami the Sanji treatment, and she doesn't deserve it because this is a extreme version of some behavior we've seen in the past. She is not this person, I think, generally speaking. So I like the modifications to the merry-go. I thought the wings and the chicken head were interesting and fun and silly. Blackbeard ship. Again, we're getting some interesting ship stuff. Blackbeard ship, great. Loved that. It's very funky. I thought the bird trying to look a different way was funny. And once again, I mentioned this in our last volume. Once again, the sonar crew is really cool. I like how Shuju uses his very extreme vocal talents and his people's penchant for audio, for listening. It's cool. And yeah, I just think it's neat. 16 to 17 was a bit of a mess. I think it is trying to exemplify chaos, and I think that lands. But part of me does want something to grasp onto. It feels a little difficult to read. When I'm reading through something, sometimes my mind-eye combination. But yeah, 16-17 was a little chaotic. My eyes were jumping around, and I don't know necessarily that I can say that Oda needs to do something better, because I feel like this is exactly the intention, and he nailed it. I just have trouble kind of focusing in when there's so much going on the pages, because I do read mine in
it's a lot.
Landscape mode, so it's 2 pages. I see everything. Yeah, I think that's more me than anything. So, and then yeah, the whirlpool actually was kind of scary. I thought it really nailed the danger of what they're getting into. The whirlpool was great, and overall this chapter was fine. It had a good range of different things going on. It had funny, it had intense, it had heartfelt, but most importantly, it had a really, really cool ending. And yeah, I liked it. Didn't love it. I will say I did love the past 2-3 chapters. The past 2-3 chapters made this volume, but I'll touch on that in my final thoughts. But 236 is V.
Hell yeah. As we are finishing up this volume, the ship sails to the sky. I have to say, just straight up, the intro image is accompanied by a caption saying, chapter title, page series, number 5. I wouldn't die even if you killed me. I guess we're starting a new intro image story, and I am very curious to find out who will be our main protagonist for this one. Just looking at the image itself, it looks like bites are being taken out of trees and cliffs. What's gonna happen? You know, we've seen Hachi, we've seen Buggy, we've seen Helmeppo, and oh no, what's his name? Kobe. Helmeppo and Kobe in the previous like intro image stories. So now I'm like, okay, who's next? What's happening now?
You have a guess?
I don't know, because this is giving jungle and it's giving like big, because it's like, I don't know, I'm seeing the indentations in the trees as bite marks.
You're about to be so disappointed.
Oh no. It could be Wobble. Because of the just he's
oh god, I hope not.
Bite stuff. It could be the giants. I don't know, but I'm curious is all I'm gonna say. I'm very curious. Actually going into the chapter itself, seeing the creature just get absolutely swallowed up by the whirlpool over pages 2 and 3 is concerning. And I get why everyone is freaking out. They're like, oh shit, okay. This is happening, which we will see the creature later on. He's fine. He's still alive. The whirlpool calms down, but the Straw Hats don't get much of a break as Blackbeard shows up at page 7. Middle of page... middle of page 8. I had a little bit of a laugh when you see Luffy saying in the distance, "Did you say my head's worth 100 million berries? Really?" And Blackbeard to reply, "You mean you don't know?"
It's a casual conversation 100 meters away.
I just thought that was so funny. I just thought it was so, I don't know, like the comedic, just the whole comedic effect on that was pristine and right in my alley. Just screaming at each other from such a distance was hilarious to me. And Luffy being like, oh shit, really, bruh? And him being like, what? You don't know? So funny. So funny to me. Also, I love how they're excited for the updated bounty and the new bounty of Zoro's head. Like, they're so proud. Even Sanji is like, hey, I want a bounty too.
Yeah, it's sad, actually. Not sad, like, I feel bad for him, but like...
No, but low-key a little bit pathetic. He's like, what? Now, hold on. What about me? Is there a poster of me? No,
remember
Sanji.
the Mr. Prince stuff? I did that.
Sanji. Shh. Shh. I thought that was hilarious. But, you know, there's no time to celebrate and no time to pay much mind to Blackbeard because the sea begins to stir. And at pages 10 and 11, we have a great shot of the knock-up stream blowing upwards and launching the Blackbeard pirates to the side. Just overall, yeah, like pages 10 and 11 was a really nice 2-page spread, nice perspective shot of, the Blackbeard pirates being kind of thrown to the side. Very dynamic with the big, like, kabloosh onomatopoeia. Love that. And then I have to say just page 12 in general, I thought was a very nice page. Like, we get Cricket kind of seeing... Yeah, we get perspective. That's exactly it. We get Cricket
That's the new dynamic, to be quite honest.
Perspective. Cricket is witnessing what is happening from a distance, but then you also get these nice... like scenic shots of what is going on, not with the characters, but with the environment in which the characters are living in. And I thought that was really interesting with just this. You can clearly see, particularly at the bottom of page 12, which you see the island, you see the big clouds, and you see the geyser shooting upwards, and you know exactly where the Straw Hats are at in that moment. And you know, ultimately, the rest of this chapter is essentially the ride up the stream. I don't have a whole lot in terms of finer details, but again, I'm going to give you guys a few highlights. I quite enjoyed the upside down panel at the bottom of page 14. I thought that it was clever, considering the fact that they're now sailing upright, they would be upside down. And so to have that specific perspective shot at the bottom of page 14, as they're saying, all right, we can go to the sky on this, go Mary go, and they're just all upside down, I thought was clever and something that I don't think we have seen before. So I quite enjoyed that. They have some company in the form of the Neptunian, the creature that we thought had been previously swallowed up by the whirlpool at the beginning of the chapter. But it doesn't last very long, and the Neptunian gets projected back out of the geyser at the top of page 16. Okay, as I have a lot of criticism for Nami for basically all of this volume except from this moment on. She is in navigator mode. Yeah. I love seeing her take the lead, get them back on track by reminding them that they can navigate this. This is the sea. It is the sea upright, but it still is the sea. But she can still be a navigator. Especially at the top of 17, you can tell that she's in her element. She's loving this. And the way that she says, who's the ship's navigator, gives off, who's your daddy? It gives us who's your daddy vibes, and I love it so much.
I don't know who's saying you are Nami. I can only imagine Sanji.
It's probably Sanji, but yeah, it's who's the ship's navigator. I'm like, yes, daddy. It's you. That's you. But I love the confidence, and she just the way that she's drawn, it looks as though she's really enjoying this. Like, this is where she belongs. This is where she is needed.
I didn't note that, but I love the observation, actually. It's,
this is, again, I have some thoughts about Nami previously in this volume, but this is certainly a redeeming moment for her because, she's not been the greatest to be around, but now I'm like, there's my girl. There she is. And then, so the ship then lifts off the water. And again, I just love seeing all of their different reactions to it. They're such a great crew, specifically the bottom of page 18.
Let me put you back on 17. Sorry, I just noticed it. It's not in my notes, but the middle of 17. Yeah. I just want to point out Robin's face. It's just like, okay, yeah, a slight
She's just
smile,
rolling with it. Yeah,
yeah. It was funny how like Luffy's literally hanging on, mouth agape, and so are many others. But Robin just like,
she's like, oh, okay, this is what we're dealing with. We're going to roll with the punches. I, specifically at the bottom of page 18, I like Nami and Zoro's reactions the most. Nami looks both happy and relieved, and Zoro seems like pleasantly surprised that, oh, well, what do you know? What do you know? It's actually working. And Nami's like, oh, fuck, we did it. Like, just that the moment of realization that whatever dreams we might have thought of, whatever stories we might have come across, whatever things that we might have built our hope upon is coming true. And I enjoy that a lot in terms of storytelling and in terms of just like, it's inspirational. Like, inspirational poster right there. And, it finishes with a nice shot of the ship on its way up the stream with the words, "Let's head straight for the Emperor Cloud."
Yeah.
Yeah. A great way to end this volume. There was a lot in this volume, and I'll get into it later, kind of in my overall thoughts. But this to me was the true beginning of the new arc.
Yeah.
This is it. This is how it starts. This is Skypiea.
It was a lot quicker and cleaner than Baroque Works was, I think. And
it was a little bit less convoluted because Baroque, well, I don't know that...
There was like 3 different islands with Baroque Works. It was almost 3 mini arcs leading up to this, where this was
realistically,
one.
you could have removed almost Little Garden entirely and try to weave the Baroque Works agents in different ways, and it would have had as much significance. I will say I think Drum Island was very significant, and everything that happened in Alabasta was very significant.
I think you can also put some of what happened on what was the first island, Whiskey Peak. Drum Island could have encapsulated a lot of what happened. Maybe. I'm not a storyteller.
This feels, and not to say like stream because we're talking about a stream and a geyser, but this feels a lot more streamlined.
Yeah.
Than the beginning of Alabasta. But, we have no idea what's awaiting for us. Like, what happens when they ride up all the way up the geyser? How many islands are there going to be?
Down?
No, please don't. No.
They got wings that can glide down gently.
Gently, yeah, but there actually is no Skypiea.
That's it. That's the end of it. And then we start on a new...
next.
But yeah, I'll keep my overall thoughts for whenever we are doing the overall review. But that is what I had for 236. Dylan?
Okay. God, you said Walpole for the cover story.
I'm just seeing
and
the
now
bite marks.
I can't unsee it, and I fucking hate it.
Because we don't know what happened with Walpole. Because he was just projected somewhere.
Well, the footprints kind of...
I don't know. I truly don't know. Like, that is I have no real theory or hypothesis for this. I'm just seeing bite marks.
Yeah. It's kind of cool to see, like, the Neptunian is getting dragged down into the whirlpool.
He looks like he's having a really bad day, and I kind of feel bad for him.
Should have been in a barrel. He could have taken a nap. And then the bottom panel on that page of everyone else kind of freaking the fuck out, and Luffy just completely unbothered. And then Soju and Marissa are just like, all right, you're on your own. Bye.
Bye.
And Luffy's like, thanks, guys. And it's like, oh, no one said anything about a giant whirlpool. This is fraud. It's like, yeah, but they talked about a giant geyser of water that shoots into the sky.
Is this that?
You should have been like, yeah, it kind of checks out. And no, he even explained it. It was like, oh no, it gets sucked down and then it shoots. So no, it was told to you. The water gets sucked into the underground chamber, gets turned to steam.
You should say something really shitty to Nami right now.
Well, Nami,
give her own medicine.
Surprise fucking was always in there. It's like, Jesus. God, this is worse than asking you what do you want to go get to eat. God, everything I say, you just say no to. Fuck, just choose.
Right?
Apparently... This is based on nothing but anecdotes, but apparently women want the man to actually tell them where they're eating.
Yes.
It's not about the decision.
I would prefer someone to take the decision for me.
My issue is
Stuff like that.
I've seen it, and it's like, okay, let's go here. I don't want that. All right, what do you want? I don't know. It's
no,
like,
so
no,
I understand that, Dylan, but for me, so as the one female member of this crew,
Toss his hair back.
so for example, let's say I have 3 choices of I want Japanese, or I want fried chicken, or I want pizza. If I have a man say, what about if we get pizza? And then that's when I realize that actually I don't want pizza.
Yeah.
I want Korean instead, and that
then
helps
say,
me.
oh
make
no,
a
not
decision.
pizza. Let's get
Yeah, but I
Korean.
didn't. The thing is, I didn't know until I put the responsibility of making a choice into
Sometimes
someone
y'all
else's
don't even
hands.
know, even after that, to be quite honest.
Okay,
Sometimes you
I'm just
just know
saying
what
from-
you don't want.
From my personal experience, as far as food goes, I have somewhat of an idea of what I'm in the mood for, kind of. But that's because I'm very much food motivated.
I kind of like everyone's continuing to freak out, and at bottom of 4, it's like, Skylar is dreaming a dream, and then like Luffy looks back, it's like, oh my god, I'm gonna make millions on a movie, Inception.
I didn't get making millions, but I definitely noted that panel. That is psycho face.
A dream and a dream. Now that's a great adventure, yeah.
Like, he's ready to die. If
Bottom
he
of-
dies right here,
Bottom of 4, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always
He
had
guy's
that
a happy
vibe.
man.
Yeah, it's the grin for me though. It's like, bro.
Throb. What's throbbing?
Yeah, what? I was imagining
I got an
like
excitement
a
boner.
heartbeat. No, I was not picturing a boner.
You would never picture Luffy's boner.
No, I would picture plenty.
Is
of
it
other characters'
stretchy?
boner.
Oh,
Shut your mouth.
no.
Stop it! Stop.
And then top of 5, I love it. It's like, he looks so happy, like Usopp and Nami, like, oh god, but Chopper's like, yeah! And I love Zoro's like, yeah, when you're finished bitching and complaining, check this out. And seeing them airborne's pretty cool. And then the whirlpool disappears. And then the Blackbeard crew the whole interaction between the Blackbeard crew and the Straw Hats is hilarious. And then we see the upstream hit, and then it's like, got a lot of lead up for the Blackbeard crew, and then you just see their ship just get absolutely shat on and blown to pieces. Although I don't think they're dead.
No, I
'Cause you can kinda
very
see the
much
end- you see
expect
the
them to
individ-
see them again.
You see the individual members.
Yeah, they're just kind of drifting.
Because there's Sniper Dude, there's Blackbeard,
I'm not worried about them. I'm positive
I
that
think
we
they're
will
gonna
see
show
them
back
again.
up, yeah.
Yeah,
and the 2-page.
and
the 2-page spread
I'm
is pretty
excited
good
for
that.
it. I feel like they're interesting characters so far.
Well, you pointed out someone pointed out the whole D thing. It's like, oh, okay, that's very significant. Like, and I think V, you were the first one to point out the heavy significance of D.
Yes,
Because it was when it was what's her name,
the Goldie
doctor.
Roger,
Correa,
Correja.
Goldie Roger.
I love Correja.
She was a good character.
But there's something about the D. guys, there's something about the D.
Shit. And then I love like the perspective shots on 12. It's like Cricket sitting there. It's like, God damn it, my cigarette butts are falling over. My mountain of cigarette butts is toppled. I was trying to see how high I could get it. And then we have the shots of the upstream shooting to the sky. Awesome. And I do love all the shots of like seeing the ship travel up the stream. And then, like V said, Nami started taking charge. I half expected Zolo to be like, oh, what, you want to actually give instructions instead of just yell at us for no reason?
Oh, damn, I guess we have a navigator now.
Yeah, and not just a bitch. I just like the perspective of them dealing with the fact that they're going straight up now, how like Zolo is standing unbothered on the side of like the wall of like the cabins. And Sanji's got strong legs, so he's just got his legs wrapped in the banister. My thing was like with Nico Robin's power, it's like, why isn't she just like giving everybody like 8 arms that come out of it to grab onto something? It's like, you're very good in this scenario. You could lock everyone down.
I imagine she's probably doing that for herself, but like, yeah, why not everyone?
But she also, I will say, does look as unbothered as Zolo about it. And then Nami gives the instructions. It's good to see everyone's kind of like, oh, finally, now you're actually being productive and not just criticizing everyone. Awesome, love that. And then once they start flying, I love seeing the whole crew's reaction. Well, besides Sanji's. So, Nami, you're so amazing. Just a lot of really good perspective shots. I really do like that. And let's head straight for the Emperor Cloud. Yeah! That's a great shot to end the chapter on, or end the volume on. I like
They're
that
like
a
a
lot.
little ant in that, yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got in this chapter. No SBS.
So, We got a new cover story. Won't speak any more onto that. I like the sea monster, the Neptunian, kind of serves as a kind of point of perspective reference here. I enjoyed its presence. And then, oh my god, Luffy on page 4. That fucking face will haunt my dreams. Like, no, Luffy.
It's like, finally I got away from him, like, peeks around the door. Are you sure about that?
Yeah. It feels SCP, is that the right? The Smiling Man.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that is an SCP.
I can only imagine. I like the idea that
real quick,
Blackbeard...
I don't think the Smiling Man is an SCP, but it is at least a story on Reddit.
Okay. I think this was a good continuation of the Blackbeard storyline. He's thrown asunder after, trying to achieve what I think is his dream, to be quite honest, is to hunt down some motherfuckers. He seems the type. I don't know. Well, I do, but I'm just going to speculate wildly here. And I like it. Do you guys think that we will see him in this arc? Or what are your thoughts on where he lands going forward?
Who are we talking about?
Blackbeard and his ship getting fucking torn up.
That was a cool scene.
I mean, we will for sure see them again. I guess it depends on, we're assuming now that they're headed towards Skypiea, and it depends a lot on what happens in Skypiea. If maybe the Blackbeard pirates do themselves make their way to Skypiea through another one of those knockoff
They've seen the secret sauce.
Yeah. So there's a definite possibility, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it waited until the Straw Hats were back on Earth, quote unquote.
Dylan?
I think it's like they're going to deal with Sky Island and they're going to end up bumping into them later. Because you even hear from Blackbeard, like, when it's like, oh, we're supposed to meet up with the marionette guy. What do we have? It's like, oh, if we miss him, we miss him. That's just fate. So I think it's like, oh, we had a chance to get them, and they got away. So, oh well. On to the next thing.
Yeah.
Which is very D-esque. It's very Luffy-esque, very Ace-esque.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, can't be helped. We'll move on to the next thing.
I like where your mind's at. That's interesting. But yeah, I liked it. These motherfuckers who clearly have something going on. Their name has been in some big mouths, if I may put it that way. But yeah, I really like the 2-pager on 11 and 10. You just see their ship get fucking dogged on. Oh, I really like that 2-page. It's simple, but it's very detailed at the same time. I don't know how to reconcile those two things, so I won't. But yeah, I love the tension that's done here, and the knock-up stream, very cool. So I will say, we do get the reactions from Cricket and the Monkey Brothers, and then things start happening really fast. We get a lot of text, and I'm not someone who's opposed to reading. I don't want that to be the thing that's taken away from this. But again, as someone who struggles to stay on task, I guess, ADHD, if you will. I was diagnosed with it from an early age. There's a certain ADHD part of me that's having trouble not understanding it, because I absolutely read every line of dialogue. I understand what's happening in the background. I do. But it's a little difficult for me to read, and maybe that's not the experience of the majority of the readers. That's fine. I don't care. So, take my words as exactly that. My own words. I think Oda's a great author. I think he tells a great story. And sometimes it just hits me in a way that is difficult. The sea monster falling on the left of 16, on the top of 16. Yeah. And you also see falling with him some bits of other ships. I'm not sure if those are ships that have been destroyed and sunk, or if that's perhaps part of Blackbeard. It doesn't look like Blackbeard's ship. But that is another great exercise in perspective, and it's interesting, and it just shows the scale of what's going on. I like this, and I didn't note it in the moment, but Nami taking control is good. It is a return to form. It is something that I wanted to see, but didn't know necessarily that I wanted to see it in the moment. So, hell yeah. And then the Mary is going. Go, Mary, go.
The Mary do be going, yeah.
So, get it, girl. I like to imagine it as a girl, even though Mary, who the ship's named after, is apparently a dude.
Yeah.
But, here's my summary. This was good. There was a lot of neat art, but at times, sometimes the way the story was told gave me a little whiplash, I think is the best way to put it. It was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Still, the purpose is understood. It's not lost on me. And it was very fun. It was very exciting. And that is what I had for 236. So, with that, I'll go ahead and bring our discussion of Volume 25 to a close. Lots of interesting stuff, but let's go ahead and we'll start our general thoughts on the volume as a whole. Again, this is taking into mind the previous episode, which was the same volume, so, do your best to keep that in mind. But I will start as is tradition. For me, the volume starts off a little slow. The jungle shenanigans when they're searching for the Southbird were fun.
Love that.
And Cricket and the brothers are characters I really enjoyed. Despite some of the stuff including them was a little bit of a slog to get through. Again, speaking of the first half of this volume, Bellamy getting his ass beat was and is an awesome One Piece moment. That's a moment that will stick with you, I promise. The floodgates open from there. After Bellamy gets his ass beat, we are shown the world. And I mean that in a very literal sense. The warlords, Ace, Buggy, Shanks, Whitebeard, Blackbeard, woohoo. The finale was very exciting and energetic. What a great second half. And a good first half, but just nailed the landing. So, V, final thoughts?
Yeah, so I'm going to start with my one main, and I hesitate to call it a negative thought, but I will say just a caveat or something that I wouldn't say put a damper on the volume, but just something that had me just reflect in a certain way. And Michael sort of went ahead and calmed some of those anxieties a little bit. To me, it felt like a lot was going on. And that it was a lot to keep track of, with the introduction of plenty of new characters, and then also familiar faces coming back, the story itself moving quite a bit. Like, to me, it felt like a very fast-paced volume. And I understand what Michael is saying in terms of the beginning of it being a little bit more of a slower build-up, but when it starts, it's like, holy fuck. Like, I need to put my seatbelt on. Like, this is no joke. And I guess in a way, if I were to try to, I wouldn't say mitigate it, but try to maybe make it a little bit more concise, I might have kept the stuff with the Warlords and Blackbeard for a different volume. Because I don't think it's going to be that relevant in the immediate future. Maybe. I don't know, right? I think there must be a reason for these characters to be introduced in that moment. But it was a lot. It was all great content. Let's be clear. I was excited to find those new characters, to be reintroduced to some of those older characters, to see these people that I have been expecting to see again come up. It was all great, but it was just a busy chapter. Michael quickly mentioned like whiplash. That's what I felt. Like it was, oh shit, okay, this is a lot. And I'm not sure where to put my attention towards, and what in this volume is worthy of me focusing on it. And that is a question I asked myself, and ultimately I did find it with just overall focusing on the Straw Hats themselves and keeping them as that thread that needs to be followed. But there was a lot of fluff around that thread. And to try to keep up with that was like, okay, do I need to start like making a spreadsheet with the characters that are being introduced and when they're being introduced? Like it was just a lot. It was a lot. Aside from that one caveat, I really enjoyed this volume. I loved seeing Bellamy get his ass kicked. I really enjoyed the sequence in the jungle hunting for the Southbird. As much as it was a lot to take in, I'm super hyped about Shanks and Buggy's return and the introduction of Whitebeard and Mihawk. Also, like the expansion of the world on which we have already sort of set our foundation. To see that being built upon, I thought was super neat. And as I stated previously, this really felt like the end of this kind of transitionary period between arcs and marks the true beginning of this is where Skypiea starts. And there's a lot of value to that overall in this volume. So those are my overall thoughts. So mostly good things. Again, like I said, just a lot for my ADHD brain, but all good things. I'm very satisfied with this. And Michael was telling us, I hope I didn't hype it up too much, or I hope I didn't oversell it. And I would not say that this was oversold. I felt like the hype was very accurate. Oda just in general does a really good job at building up that anticipation, and I'm super excited to see where this goes and where they end up, because right now they're up that stream. What's going to be waiting for them when they reach the top of that stream? I don't know, and I'm excited to find out. And that's what I had for this volume. Dylan?
Yeah, a lot of really good world building. Like I said earlier, it does seem like the world, like the actual ruling council of the world government. Because we saw earlier, it's like they had the council where it's like the King of Alabasta was there, Walpole was there. Nah. They don't really make the decisions. It's these 5 that we saw are the ones who actually make the decisions and have these guys think that they're making the decisions.
Yeah.
And it seems like red-haired Shanks is aware of that power imbalance. And now he's at the point where he's working, they're so scared of him because he's trying to contact Whitebeard. And like, oh, you two together are so dangerous that you could shake this up. And that's got me super intrigued. I'm ready to see that play out. And then again, like we say it every time, like the big perspective scenery shots Oda does so fucking well. And the fact that he's pumping them out like every week, he's pumping stuff like that out every week. I don't know if it's like he gives a rough sketch and then hands it to another person. It's like, all right.
And he is having health problems. Dylan, you kind of touched on this.
That's super common. That's the writer of Berserk. That's how he died. He worked so much he had a heart attack and died. That's actually very, very prevalent with... And it's like they're so strict.
Not just mangaka, but yeah, Japanese business culture is...
Yeah. Like the salary man
well,
is
yeah,
like a
they
trope
work like
in Japan where you work
like
overtime.
12-hour days and then
yeah.
they go...
And you
they
love
work
it.
12 hours and then they go...
You thank your boss for the opportunity, yeah.
Well, you think your boss because culturally that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You don't love it.
And even after work,
because
you
after
go out
work,
to an
you go out and
izakaya
you
with
get
them and you
shit
get
house
drunk.
to deal with
and
it.
yeah, your life is work. Yeah.
And that's actually sad. Like that bums me out. Like we can see it here. These are some of like the greatest artists in the world, and they're just literally working themselves to death. And it's really because I don't know the creator of Dragon Ball. I don't know how he died. But I assume lung cancer takes a lot of them because they're so stressed out with the workload that they just like cricket. I think the inspiration for those ashtrays is Oda probably looked around his office and was like, "Damn, that's normal."
So Toriyama died of a subdural hematoma. I don't know what that indicates.
That's a base skin
collection of
hematoma.
blood.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know what causes that. Does stress cause it? Probably. Stress causes a lot of things.
Well, subdermal
I don't know that
hematoma
you
kind of makes me think of DVT, deep vein thrombosis, where it's like, because when you're sitting for long periods of time, your heart isn't powerful enough to force the blood in your legs to circulate a lot, so clots will build up.
And then when you want to move my legs right now, actually, Dylan.
And then when you it's like sitting like 8 to 12 hours at a time.
And that's why you wear compression socks when you go on airplanes and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But good volume, great. I didn't have a lot of negatives. Although I will say I think I'm starting to not like Nami because she's a woman that has opinions. No, I'm just kidding.
Shut up. It wasn't her best volume.
It wasn't. I promise you.
I've been seeing a lot of it, though. It's not even just this volume.
This isn't who she's going to be. I have to stand up for her, even at the risk of spoilers.
It's like after Arlong, it's like... After Arlong, you can't get away with that. It's like... I get that that's some serious trauma to unpack and deal with, but it's like, man, you're lashing at the people who actually care enough to actually help you. Like, stop lashing out and be like, hey, this is how I'm feeling. But that's all I really got on it.
I will lift the embargo on 26, read at your leisure. And,
Can we see the cover?
Yes, you may. So, I don't know that this one's going to give a whole lot away.
No, because the previous one did.
Oh, the previous one did. He was
one,
like, I saw things. And then I was like, shut the fuck
Shanks.
up.
I see Shanks. Oh my god, it's Shanks. And Buggy. And the goat.
But yeah, here is the cover for the next one. And it's very joyous. I don't know that you can glean a whole lot, but go for it. Pop off.
Yeah, there's not much. I just wonder what's in that squash that Chopper's sipping out of.
Yeah, I don't think this really has anything to really do
No,
with
it
the
doesn't
volume.
tell us
It's more
anything.
just like,
It
hey,
does
fun.
and it doesn't.
A fun, goofy picture of the crew, kind of like we had the archaeologist one.
Maybe that's what the sky islands are going to look like. Who knows? Because I see clouds.
You do see clouds and you see joy. I think that,
I see
except
joy.
for Zoro. Zoro does not look happy.
Zoro's like, oh, I gotta freaking herd cats again.
Zolo, like if you've ever seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine,
Yeah.
Zolo,
The captain?
Zolo, yeah, he reminds me of Holt. Where it's
Captain
like,
Holt.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's like, no, I'm
R.I.P.
having
he's passed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame.
It
It's
was
like, no,
awesome.
can't you tell I'm having the best time of my life? It's like completely monotone and flat-faced.
But yeah, do you guys have any last thoughts on this before I move on?
No, I think, good volume. Looking forward to the next
Nope.
one. Oh, this one's in Japanese? Okay.
The next volume is called Adventure on God's Island.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So, take that for what you will. And with that, we'll go ahead and bring this episode, part 2, to a close. I want to thank our listeners for listening. V, Dylan, thank you so much for joining me on this journey. And with that, definitely check us out on our social medias. Twitter, Instagram, and Discord, especially Discord. I do want to give a special shout out to Discord. Discord is where most of the action happens, so be there or be square. And with that,
But please be there.
yeah, I will say, bon voyage.
Bon voyage.
Ciao, Bella.